the Go Monster. Awesome weekend.
It's a very tough racetrack to get hold of.
It's a tough track, but I'm one of the guys to beat at Dover.
When I go to Dover, I think about one thing: how do I win this race?
Dover is extremely physical, it's demanding, it's mental, it'll separate the men from the boys.
Joey Logano goes for a wild tumble.
We are not making up how difficult this track is. 8 laps.
We're 8 laps in. Denny Hamlin will once again see the checkered flag. He wins at the Monster Mile. NASCAR Cup Series, Drydene 311. Part of the Drydene double-header weekend from here at Dover International Speedway. And we go down to pit road, and the guy standing in front of the 9 car is Dylan Welch.
And Rick, it was a strong start early yesterday for Chase Elliott in this 9 team, but some contact on the racetrack and the resulting damage sent them plummeting down the leaderboard. They spent the rest of the afternoon fighting hard for a 5th place finish and hope the info they gathered from a day in traffic and dirty air can guide them back to the front today. Parker, Chase Elliott starts 16th.
Well, Dylan, right behind him is Kevin Harvick, who finished 4th yesterday, but it was by no means a simple top 5. They had an issue on pit road that sent them to the back. They drove all the way through the field, and right when they were in position, their car started to fight against them. The track bar was lowering itself. So what they do to rectify that for today, they went old school. They put a hose clamp around that thing so it will stay in place all 311 laps, Dave.
Parker, on a NASCAR doubleheader, no practice, no qualifying weekend. What's the reward for winning a race? Well, you get to start 20th. You also get a cool Miles of Monster trophy when you're here at Dover. But I asked Chris Gabehart, the crew chief, if he changed his philosophy at all with Denny starting back here. He said, no, I didn't. And one reason why, yesterday our teammate Kyle Busch, well, he went from 22nd to finish 3rd on the day. We're staying with what we had, and we think we can win again, Rick.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance yesterday by Joe Gibbs Racing, finishing 1, 2, 3. Stevie, can we see something similar to that today with the domination that we saw yesterday?
I think the possibility is there. The question is, who will it be? I think Truex had a very good car, maybe some small adjustments.
And possibly Kyle Busch looking for his first win of 2020. Now for the command to start the engine. It's the president of Drydene Performance Products, Dave Klinger.
On behalf of Drydene Performance Products, drivers, start your engines.
Captain Craig, when you're ready.
It's been a great weekend already, and we want to thank Drydene for everything that they have done, and a great command there by Dave. Engines are fired. We're going 311 when we return. The Tracker 800 SX does it all with an impressive towing and payload capacity. It makes the hard jobs easy. Plus, an engine that's quietest in class. Available now at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
Logano will win.
Thank you guys so much. Hey, boys. Woo!
Kevin Harvick headed to the checkered flag.
Great job, DH.
It's Brad Keselowski, his first win in 2020.
Checkered flag. Great job.
Kevin Harvick has had a great afternoon.
Hell yeah, boys. Awesome job.
Denny Hamlin wins. At the line, it is Ryan Blaney.
Get him, Ryan.
The 6th career win here at Pocono.
Quick job, 400. Great job. Awesome job. Holy that's awesome. Hell yeah!
They've done it again. He's done it again.
Good way to make a statement right there, but proud of you.
Harvick is going to sweep Michigan. He wins again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My man.
And Denny Hamlin will once again see the checkered flag. He wins at the Monster Mile.
How about that, baby?
Win 43 is pretty awesome.
Win number 43 is pretty awesome for Denny Hamlin. First time he's ever won at this racetrack. Want to take a look at the starting grid for today's Cup Series race, brought to you by Drydene. It'll be on the left side of your screen. Again, an inversion of yesterday's top 20. That's why DiBenedetto and Newman are making up the front row. We want to talk with Ryan Blaney, so let's dial him up on the radio.
Get a look at it. There's two little small patches, like 2 feet by 2 feet or so.
Talking right now, so let's let them finish their communications. Ryan, it's Burton up in the booth. You with us?
Hey, yeah, I got you.
Well, you guys ran a race yesterday. What did you learn? Need to be better today.
Yeah, I thought, obviously everybody learned a lot yesterday. You know what you need to do, how you unloaded, where your car was at. I thought our advanced auto parts for Mustang was okay. I missed pit road under green flag stop, and that definitely didn't help us, but we made a lot of changes last night and this morning to this thing. See if we can get a little bit closer. So nice to start near the front. Just a matter of, you know, changing your car with the track changing as it puts rubber down, like we always talk about. See what we can do.
Well, yesterday's race, we saw a lot of people chasing the back of the cars. Looked really loose. You guys fighting something similar?
Yeah, you know, especially with the low downforce, you know, you seem to get loose in, especially to this place. So it's just a matter of bounce, and you're loose in, but then trying to keep turning as it gets rubber down. So that's a fine line, and you can see the best cars are able to do it pretty good. So hopefully we tune this thing up to where we can get some entry security, but keep turning in the center and on exit. That's a perfect world, but we'll see if we can get it right.
Well, good luck with all that, Ryan. Thank you for letting us ride along.
No, thank you.
As Jeff mentioned, we appreciate riding along. And Junior, pretty cool look back at the driver's eyes here.
Yeah, thanks to Advanced Auto Parts, we got this camera in Ryan's car on the roof, and you saw the passenger high reverse camera.
We also have that same view with Jimmy Johnson, thanks to Chevrolet. They give us that view looking back at his, well, looks like difficult to see through visor.
Brothers Pizza gives us this camera on the roof of Kevin Harvick's car, and he has an over-the-shoulder camera too as well.
And then we also are riding along, thanks to Toyota, with Martin Truex Jr. Again, Martin finished top 2 yesterday at this race. We'll be able to look back at him and watch how much he has to work as far as taking on the Monster Mile. And Steve, Monster Mile yesterday, 311 laps, 311 miles. The numbers today similar?
Same numbers today, Rick, but the same difficult racetrack as well. When you mentioned Dover at the Monster Mile, 1 mile in length, but very, very high banking for this concrete surface. 24 degrees in the corner. But I think we might talk even more about the 9 degrees on the straightaway. Any issues on the straightaway shoves you down into that inside wall. We saw heavy damage early for Kurt Busch. The same could happen today. 311 laps, 70 laps stage 1. 115 laps stage 2, final stage 126 laps, around 90 laps on fuel. So pit stops required in both stage 2 and 3.
Looking back at the field as they go 2 by 2. Again, the choose rule is in effect for the restarts, and we'll tell you more about that when we get there. Again, the top 20, they have been inverted. That is why you see the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto He is on the front row with the 6 of Ryan Newman, getting ready to take on the monster. Once again, the Xfinity Series race has put the rubber down on the racetrack, and the Cup guys are about to culminate the weekend, doubleheader weekend from Dover, and the second race is underway. No time Matt DiBenedetto wasted in jumping out to the front. And how about Eric Almirola in the 10 on the outside, fighting for second already?
That's a hard pass to make this early in the race. Oh man, really pushing that car off turn 4. Newman stays on the inside. A little bit loose right there for the 10. Newman fighting grip in the back of the car is going to have to give that spot up right there.
That's Austin Dillon in the 3, back from last weekend where he had to take off because of COVID-19, testing positive, but he had 2 negative tests, 24 hours in between. That allowed him to be able to come back and race this weekend.
Had a good run yesterday. They didn't finish quite as well as they ran. Had to feel good to have to sit out a week and then go and have good speed coming back. Good opportunity for these guys trying to get away from some of the cars that were so good yesterday.
How about Blaney making the move here as we ride along with him?
Listen to that throttle, on and off the throttle. This racetrack, so rough. Even on new tires, it's not a lot of grip.
I was surprised by how, poorly Blaney ran yesterday. I think it's a great opportunity for him with great starting position. Climb through these guys quickly. Try to get that track position, hang on to it all day long.
Thought Newman was going to get passed by the 3 of Austin Dillon, but Dillon has a little issue there, has to check up, and that allows Ryan Blaney to get by him. 2 Richard Childress Racing cars right here, the 3 and the 8. Tyler Reddick in the 8, just behind the 3 of Austin Dillon now. Oh, 47's around. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into the inside wall. And a lot of damage on the right side of that car.
It's the second race. We've seen Ricky have problems early in the race.
Also seeing the 7.
Had great pace.
Oh, look at this.
Big damage to the 9.
Wow.
That is a lot of damage.
Garrett Smithley in the 7 also was stopped on the track.
To the garage.
And straight to the garage for Chase Elliott. You're hearing.
And Chase Elliott yesterday was really fast. Lost his track position and never could recover, but had a fast car. It's gone today. So you can see they drive into turn 3. Gano gets up the racetrack a little bit right there. They're all clear.
And Gano just up the track into the left rear quarter panel of the 47. The 9, when he came into the picture, already had damage, so he must run into somebody as the 47 was spinning. Oh, here it is. The 51 and the 7, they go around at the backside of the yellow. Heavy damage on the 51. Still trying to figure out where the damage happened to the 9, though.
Joey Gase is in that 51.
So you see right here, some pretty good damage to the right rear quarter panel of the 22 car. From somebody. I'm still there.
The rear tires on the 11 car. He's trying to lock them up. Yeah, there's
the 9, all the damage to it.
Still trying to figure out where the 9 gets his damage. Oh, right here. Who's he hit? The 18 car, maybe? I think it had to be the 18. As they came into the frame, the 18 was in front of the 9. Either way, regardless of who he hits, the damage is significant. The day is over for Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott has a win, so he'll be in the playoffs. Can't take that away from him. That spot, 2 wins actually. Most recently, the road course win at Daytona. There's the 18. You mentioned the back of it. Yeah, he got hit in the back by the 9.
Evidence would say pretty heavy contact right here. Let's take another look. You're going to see the 18 on the right side of your screen and see if the 9 comes in. Oh, yeah. You see it. They just check up. Boy, it turned 18 into the fence a little bit there on the front straightaway. Rubbed the wall pretty good with the right side. They can pull that sheet metal out, but you hope it don't bend the front geo on that car.
So, Steve, talk about the situation that these guys are on, a clock. They've got to get back out there. They've only got 6 minutes, right?
Yeah, so basically the cars that are still on the racetrack have 6 minutes after being involved in the incident. 6 minutes on pit road. from the start to the end of pit road. No matter how many times you come down, it adds up to be a total of 6. If you can get on the racetrack and meet minimum speed, they'll reset that clock. That's what the 47 here of Ricky Stenhouse is going to try to do. And this is going to be disappointing. Such a good run yesterday. Ran 10th. He just ran up front all day long, inside the top 10 to 15 all day long. Ended up 10th. To have an issue this early, Jeff, you mentioned it early in the race. Surprising. I mean, it's a pretty heavy contact between the 22 and him.
22 still out on the racetrack, 9 off the track. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. McDonald's. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy duty lubrication. Drydene.com. Coming up on the choose box. And again, they have about 2 seconds from the time they cross the start-finish line until they have to make their decision either high or low. There's about 2 seconds. Coming up to that now.
We saw in the Xfinity Series race, Harrison Burton hit that orange box. That's a penalty. He must have been about 2.5 seconds, right?
Were they listening, you think?
4 inside.
There you go.
It's about half and half here. Go inside.
Okay, so we're under caution again because of multiple things.
Yeah, there was a lot. So right here, the 22 at the top of the screen, as he comes into view, he's going to get into the left rear of the 47. But Junior, behind them, the 20 of Eric Jones also makes contact.
Yeah, the 20 gets into the right rear quarter panel of the 22 car. Damage to Logano's car, damage to the nose of the 20 car. That's 2 days in a row. The 20's been involved in an early accident. I think the 20 kind of got shoved into all this. Everybody sort of checking up. It's on top of Jimmy Johnson's car.
Jimmy had a close call yesterday when the car was making his way onto pit road and Jimmy was flying by at speed. And so Chase Elliott walking back to the hauler. His day over as field approaching the Geico restart zone. Eric Almirola in the 10 on the inside. Matt DiBenedetto in the 21. And DiBenedetto's not going to be able to hold off the 10.
I may be incorrect, but that might be the first time the inside lines worked all weekend on a restart.
Ryan Blaney's also making use of that inside line. He goes up to second. DiBenedetto has dropped all the way back to third now.
Yeah, he was the control car and just couldn't get traction. I guess he spun the tires. That inside line did a great job of matching him all the way down into turn 1. Good push from the 12 to give that 10 car the lead. Here Almirola out front.
Almirola has had success at this racetrack. Almost got a win here a couple years back if it wouldn't have been for a late restart. But then yesterday was almost a surprise. The reason he's starting up front is because he didn't finish well. He did not have a very good race, but now he's showing those winning ways once again with his Ford Mustang up front.
Well, these drivers, well, I was going to say, they're using those starting spots up front to their advantage, right, Jeff? They've missed one accident. Also in this clean air, don't you think they're going to get a better feel on their race car?
Yeah, I think so. But you can see Eric Almirola leading this race, how much work he's doing. The back of the car, really twitchy. Watch his steering wheel, you know, from that front shot. His hands, a lot of hand movement right there.
All our guys that ran up front, finished up front yesterday, having some trouble trying to get through the field here. Denny Hamlin has a moment off into turn 1. Tries to get the outside. Ty Dillon way up the racetrack. 3 wide right here. Makes that move work.
We're talking about Blaney. You know, Blaney had a good car yesterday. It wasn't terrible, but he mentioned to us, you know, he got that, he missed pit road on the green, and that just lost all their track position, obviously, but they needed to be better. They didn't have winning speed, but they had about an 8th, 9th, 10th place car. Wonder if they could make enough adjustments to be able to get it where they have winning pace.
How about this? Once again, we see the 24 and 48 running nose to tail. They are on either side of that cut line right now. The 48 plus 4, the 24 minus 4.
Watch how hard this pass will be. Jimmy just right there on the bottom, painting that asphalt, just really right on the bottom. That's what Jimmy Johnson's so good at. And that pass to William Byron, just crushing, because you know you got to beat that 48 car to make yourself in, get yourself in these playoffs.
And he's got the 4 right behind him too, with Kevin Harvick back there.
Yeah, we heard over the radio the pressure starting to build on that 24 William Byron check, and now it's been a little bit short with each other. I totally believing that's just the pressure of the situation. As you mentioned, Jeff, is now he's under attack by Kevin Harvick. You know, the guy you have to beat is Jimmy Johnson, and he had one of his better days in recent races, ran inside the top 10 all day. Parker continued to put pressure on the 24, and finally it was just too much.
Right, Steve, but in talking to that team and talking to Cliff Daniels, crew chief, you wouldn't think they ran that well. Even though they gained 28 points on that 24 car, he said, I ran 7th with Jimmy Johnson at Dover. Cliff Daniels was up till 2 a.m. last night working on sim, pouring over data, trying to make that 48 car better for today, and I think it's showing up early, Dave.
Parker right in front of him, Denny Hamlin runs in the 12th position. Started 20th, if you'll recall. And when I talked to his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, this morning, he said, one thing I know Denny will do, he's a pro. He will take care of that 11 car. If he knows we have an opportunity to win, he knows we only have that opportunity if that car's in one piece. And you saw that avoidance move. He's a little loose right now, but he's got that 11 figured out, and he's not going to wreck it before he gets up to the lead, guys.
I'll tell you what, you heard Parker talk about Cliff Daniels trying to improve that 48. We had this conversation this morning. If I'm Cliff Daniels, I'm not looking at yesterday as a, you know, something that should be celebrated, outrunning the 24. I would try to take the momentum and continue to push. Tell Jimmy Johnson, look, we did it. We gained 25 points on William Byron. Well, why can't we gain those same 25 on Matt DiBenedetto? Why can't we get the 15th? Why can't we charge on 14th? Let's try to eliminate the pressure of Daytona.
And you have, yes, you have to look forward to the next race, which is Daytona, and that's one of the biggest wild cards, and it ends the regular season. So someone outside of the top 16 right now could come up, win that race, and bump the guy who's 16th in points right out of the playoffs.
Instantly see how good of a car that 11 that Denny Hamlin has. He kind of methodically just works his way through traffic, guys. He easily turned underneath the 17, and almost like he doesn't need to complete the pass, just rolls the bottom, gets a little clearance right here. He can clear up off the corner. Now he'll start working on the 6 in front of him, just one at a time. Only 24 laps in, and Denny already trying to get inside the top 10 after starting 20th.
Yeah, that's what you're going to see him. The 4 car of Harvick, Truex, all those guys that were up front yesterday working themselves through this pack, through this inversion.
That's the 6 of Ryan Newman that he's trying to get by now. Remember, Ryan Newman started up front.
You got to be patient. I think, you know, these guys raced up front yesterday. Denny Hamlin, all in clean air for the majority of the day. Obviously had some lap traffic to deal with, but starting 20th, man, your car is not going to feel like it did yesterday in that dirty air. You just got to be patient with, you know, don't freak out about the car being out of the racetrack, not having grip because it's going to be in dirty air. Look at Denny now. He's been patient. Now look, he's in clean air. He'll work his way up through there. He can give good feedback right now about what his car is doing if they've made it better from yesterday to today.
Harvick also able to get by that 6 of Ryan Newman, but it's Eric Almirola that everyone is chasing here at the Monster Mile. .39 laps to go in stage 1 of the NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. Eric Almirola has a 1.2 second lead already. He is driving out front. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with high definition in-car cameras. All you have to do, just visit NASCAR.com/driver. You can download that mobile app today. We see the caution has come out, debris on the racetrack. Martin Truex Jr. bouncing around there. Oh, what we got there, a little brake duct maybe?
Yeah, some sort of cooling hose off somebody's car. This caution comes at a very inopportune time for the crew chiefs to make a decision here. We saw yesterday that 3 of Austin Dillon improve his position greatly by staying on the racetrack, and it worked. He ended up running 2nd in the stage by getting track position. So now right here, I mean, you think you want tires, you think you want to come in and make adjustments, but with only 37 laps to go on the stage, I do believe there's opportunity for somebody to gamble. I mean, why new tires are better. I think Dillon proved yesterday that you can stay out of that clean air. Perhaps it's worth more.
Yeah, I think it's more opportunity than we had yesterday too for the guys to adjust their cars early. Some of these guys made some adjustments or don't like the way their cars are driving right now. Maybe need to tighten them up a little bit or get them turning better. It's a good chance to come down pit road. We got one car that's pretty free out there. Our winner yesterday, Denny Hamlin, off into turn 3. Sideways, has to check it up. Harvick goes to the outside. That's what's great about this racetrack. Provides you a wide groove in the corners. You can run wherever you want. Let's see what everybody does here.
So again, Eric Almirola, race leader. Blaney, DiBenedetto, Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, and Eric Almirola is going to give up the lead and come to pit road. He brings quite a few with him. Blaney stays out. Parker.
Kevin Harvick's been very happy with that Ford car. Remember yesterday they had an issue with that track bar. The car was adjusting itself. Today that is not the problem. But very happy to be Ford Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel.
Matt DiBenedetto in the middle of your screen reporting that his car is just loose. It is skating on the right rear. 2 tires, right sides only for DiBenedetto. Dave?
Bottom of the screen, Denny Hamlin reporting loose. Chris Gabehart had just radioed a few laps before the caution. I know what we need as they come to pit road. We'll see if that includes 4 Goodyear tires or just 2, as well as a little bit of fuel. And we'll watch the race off pit road.
There are no 4 tires on the 11. A little bit slower stop there. The 22 able to get out in front of him. DiBenedetto wins the race off pit road. Great aerial shots here of Dover International Speedway, brought to you by Geico. Field working. This is the second caution. The 120th U.S. Open, it's going to return to Wingfoot. Tiger Woods, defending champion Gary Woodland, the rest of the world's best are going to face golf's toughest test coming in September to NBC.
To promote that correctly, Rick, I think we may need to travel up there. And
we should probably get a first-hand look at that Wingfoot. And once again, drivers will be able to choose. Ryan Blaney, remember Ryan Blaney stayed out. So Blaney didn't come in, William Byron didn't come in, and Kurt Busch all stayed out on the racetrack.
Well, so Kurt Busch and Byron were looking for some track position, but the 12 of Blaney, Dave, he already had some track position.
When they saw the trend looking like everyone was going to pit, they tried to get him in. Listen.
Come on. Nope. I don't know. That's something that needs to be worked out earlier. That's not me. I was watching. I was just waiting. I felt like I had a few that would stay, and I think clean air is going to be good for us.
Steve, how hard is that to call as a crew chief?
Well, you have to just make the call. That's what Ryan Blaney's saying. Listen, we just have to make that decision earlier. You can't tell me to stay out and then change my mind. You know, that's how penalties happen. You drive over that orange box. Todd Gordon there said he had a plan, and I like the little bit of a sell on clean air. But that's the toughest thing, is just as easily that same decision can be the right one, Rick, because if 15 guys stay out behind you, then you say, oh, why did we pit? Why did we give up all this track position? So that's the tough thing about strategy, is your choice may not change. It's everyone else's choice that determines if it's right or wrong.
How do you feel about the 24, though? That staying out, I think I like it. trying to gain that track position. They have nothing to lose today.
And they could save another set of tires. I mean, at this point, there's only 30-something laps to the end of this stage, 33 to go. You're not going to lose a lap. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to fall back to where you were running.
Well, he did gamble some yesterday trying to take a bad car and get a decent finish with it, and actually bit him. You know, it didn't work out well for him. So let's go back to watch. So here's Blaney, right? He's right now he's being told, pit, and he just can't do it. He's like, come on, man, you got to tell me sooner than that. Had he pit and turned and crossed over that orange box, that would have been a penalty. You have to have all 4 tires below that orange box. He just couldn't get there. I do like Todd Gordon, though, Steve. He said, that's my fault. We should have pitted. We're good, though. Clean air.
Clean air. Yeah, he wanted to put a positive spin on it. Hey, clean air.
We got it.
You definitely don't want to sell it the other way.
No.
Oh.
Okay, here they go. Decision time. And we saw that lower line work, so it's going to be Kurt Busch that will be the first in the lower line. Top 2, Blaney and Byron, both went up on the high line.
You can see them faking. They're waiting as long as they can to try to fake the guy behind them.
Trying to get somebody to run over that box. That's what they're trying to do.
And look how close.
Yeah, look how slow they're going back here.
I talked to Almirola, and he said, I'm telling you, you better pay attention because you're going to knock a grill out. Because you kind of come up there off turn 4, and they're all stacked up, kind of like a stack up at the interstate.
Let's listen in on William Byron's radio.
So the goal here is not to fight for the lead. The goal here is to get going and try to separate as much as we can.
Yeah, it's important.
All right, it's checking now. It's telling his driver, don't run side by side for 5 or 6 laps and let all the new tires get to our rear bumper. Yeah. Get in line and get going.
That's
big
great.
picture.
That's
yeah,
good,
big
specific
picture.
information. This is what I need you to do. I like it.
Just remind the driver, you know, we need as many points as we can get.
Yeah, Matty D's thinking, I have new tires inside you already, so good luck getting single file.
All right, so Ryan Blaney, William Byron, they're on that high line. We heard him firing there, and he might have spun the tires. Here comes the one of Kurt Busch on the bottom.
Yeah, well, you could hear him spinning the tires from that in-car camera. Look at William Byron on the outside. Kurt Busch down there on the bottom. Big disadvantage. He got wrecked so early yesterday. He didn't learn anything about his car.
A great job by the 24. Well, that's exactly what Chad wanted to see. Got momentum, got by the 1. Now get in line. Even if a few go by you, just get out there as far as you can.
And Chad Knaus he's the biggest fan right now of that driver of that 1 car, Kurt Busch. He wants him to hold up all these guys coming from behind on tires. Essentially 30 laps to go. They're racing to the end of this stage 1. That 24 car is.
Benedetto in the 21, currently running 3rd, and Brad Keselowski in the 2 running 4th. Those 2 with fresh tires, they went with 2 tires on that last stop, so 2 fresh tires. Mentioned Matt Benedetto currently running in the 3rd spot. Dylan.
On a much better day going so far for these guys. Greg Irwin, the crew chief, said this morning that yesterday was horrible. They were very disappointed with their performance. Ended up 20th. Today, Matt is reporting, as we said, that he's skating that right rear, so they changed 2 tires only there on that stop. 1 to just keep their track position, but 2 just to try to diagnose that race car and tighten it up a little bit. So a bit of a strategy call, a bit of a setup call is there as well, just to take those right sides.
I like Greg Irwin, though, only taking 2 because they have the bucket of gold. They have track position. There's no adjustment you're going to make that's going to make up for moving your car towards the front. So don't give it up, Jeff. I mean, you're up there now, right? Try to work on it, try to improve it, but don't go to the back.
Track position does matter. And you know, think about it, William Byron and Matty D both trying to recover from bad days yesterday. Both of them trying to execute with 26 to go to get some points in this stage that they lost yesterday.
And points get paid at the end of each stage. 10 points going to the winner of the stage, on down all the way to 1 point if you finish in 10th.
The reason I say that about Matty D is look at Eric Almirola out the windshield of Kevin Harvick's car. You know, he was leading this race. He came down, took 4 tires, runs in the 8th position, and is not moving anywhere, right? So those tires are not instantly paying off. We'll see if he gets a few spots before the end of the stage, but with 25 laps, I just don't see him driving back to the lead. Kurt Busch, 4 cars up in front of Almirola. He's just thankful he's still running, Rick.
I'm impressed with the way that car's hanging on here, all these tires he's got. especially after yesterday, crashing out early.
Such a disadvantage on weekends where, you know, we don't have practice anymore. Then you run that first race, that's a chance to build on something to make it better for today, and they didn't learn anything. I mean, they just early in the race got knocked out, and it just hurts you so bad. So great job by this team and by Kurt recovering so far.
Yeah, I think too, it takes, racing behind him, I think it takes your confidence out too as a driver when you wreck the primary, because you think in your mind, well, the primary is better. That's the one they chose to bring. Let's see what happened yesterday. This backup car's got some speed in it. Just checking up a little bit, couldn't get to full throttle to 20. Eric Jones gets into the back of him, turns him around. Lap 8 of the race, pretty early on in. This backup car, they've done a great job. Backup car won the Xfinity race today.
So Kurt Busch, you talk about biggest movers, 35 points, positions already he has made up in this race after starting in the back. Up front, Ryan Blaney. So staying out could pay off for Todd Gordon making that call. William Byron running second. He's a second behind him. Benedetto is third, Keselowski fourth, and in fifth is the one of Kurt Busch. Let's get a few updates. We'll start with the 22 and Dave.
Currently running 10th, Rick, after that little scuffle and skirmish early on. Joey says the car isn't too bad right now, but it was inconsistent during that run. It was sometimes loose, it was sometimes tight, so they made an air pressure adjustment to try to get Joey back on track, Dylan.
Right behind him, Dave, in the 41 is Cole Custer, who runs in the 11th spot, exactly where he finished yesterday. These double headers so valuable for a Cup Series rookie, just with getting laps yesterday, running the entire race. That was almost like their practice for the weekend. Now they can come out here, attack right away. Cole's been quiet on the radio, fairly happy behind that 41, Parker.
And behind him is that impressive rookie of Tyler Reddick, who's, I believe, trying to hold off Clint Boyer there. I talked to him earlier today after the race yesterday. When he finished 13th, they gave some points, and I said, you look at the points and say, we're too far out. We're just here to win. We've got to go run into the top 10, and I think we can do that. He said, the one thing about these cars here compared to the Xfinity cars, he said, I can't drive them sideways enough. I want to drive more sideways. We just can't make the speed going as sideways I want to be.
Well, there's a few drivers that are going sideways around this racetrack. Good battle right here for that third spot. We'll be back with more from Dover after this. Coming up on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Junior, you're back to work. You're on the radio.
Yeah,
NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
Talking about Daytona coming up next weekend. Important race, last race of the regular season. Should be a lot of fun. Tune in.
You're joining the Bagman and Pete Pistone. Actually, the Bagman did double duty this weekend. Not only calling the race, but also the green flag yesterday to start the race.
This form right here. Anyone who gets a chance to wave a green, study up.
That was it.
Good form right there.
Very well done.
This battle right here on the racetrack, guys, 11 to go. Jimmy Johnson running ninth, trying to get some stage points. Trying to get by Austin Dillon, can't make it happen. Now he's under attack from Joey Logano.
Yeah, that's going to hurt him.
That moves him back to 10th. That would be 1 point. William Byron, the guy we saw him racing with yesterday, trying to gain those points on him. He's in second. That would be 9 points for William and only 1 point for Jimmy.
And again, the numbers you're seeing over there projecting out throughout the race. So that's why when we talk about 9 points difference, and it was only 3 when it started, the 21 is because that's projecting throughout the whole race.
Yeah, that's if the 24 finishes second in stage 2 and finishes second in the race.
Right.
Keep this in mind too, guys. William Byron, that bad day we talked about, guess how many points he got yesterday? At 9 points.
9.
So this right here would be as good as all the points he gained yesterday.
Again, coming up on 7 laps to go. In stage 1, Ryan Blaney, and there's his teammate, Brad Keselowski. Joey Logano as well out of Team Penske. A lot of Penske eyes right now on the Indy 500. Roger Penske giving the command earlier today.
That damage on that left rear, or that right rear quarter panel of 22 is not not preference, man. You wouldn't want that. So I'm sure those guys are going to try to treat that a little bit, help that side force of that car. He's doing a great job with it, Joey Logano. But that damage is probably hurting that car just a little bit. Wouldn't you think, Steve?
I think it is hurting. The big question is, how much time can you take to repair it, right? That you're currently running up in the 7th position for Logano. Can you afford to spend time on pit road?
Car we didn't talk about much yesterday that we tend to see at the front of a lot of these races. Kevin Harvick drove up to 3rd place, starting to put the pressure on William Byron. We talked about it at the top of the show about who can make the adjustments to improve their car. Looks like this Ford team's done some great things to help Kevin be able to work with this thing. He runs that diamond. Bert, you know him. You were teammates with him. He runs a diamond at this racetrack. A lot of guys roll the bottom real tight or run high like Williams running. That 4-car Harvick, he always has kind of drifted up in the middle and back to the bottom on exit.
And Dale, I spoke to Rodney Childers about that exact thing, what changes they would make on that 4-car. If you remember that first stage yesterday, he was flying after the pit road issue they had. He went from 29th to just outside the top 5. He said, we look at that run, and then he goes, I noticed also we were too high. We lowered the car. We did a couple things that you'd normally do after that first run in practice to dial this car in. I think that would worry a lot of the competitors out there if they heard how much they fine-tuned that 4-car for today.
Well, and Parker, you mentioned at the beginning of the show how their track bar was dropping on its own. I saw that tweet from Rodney last night. I've had that before, Rick. You are chasing a moving target. Every time you make an adjustment, the car adjusts itself. That track bar just can fall on its own if the mount has an issue or not properly installed. So I expect Harvick to be one of those cars to run much better today, and so far he's doing so. I think he might have a chance to win this stage as he's run Blaney down.
So now with
lap traffic.
Yeah, just under 3 to go. It's the 12 of Blaney just in front of Kevin Harvick.
Kevin can't. That's the worst place to catch the lap traffic. Can't get in the throttle right there.
Look at Blaney though. Watch Blaney. Watch corner entry. Harvick's going to beat him, but watch the exit.
Harvick does this diamond, gets a great run off the corner.
You see right there, Blaney cannot go back to the throttle. Does not have enough rear grip to just aggressively attack the throttle. Harvick will try to jump on the outside of him.
Look at this pass. He goes to the high side for the stage 1 win. Harvick goes by Blaney. Man, 1 lap to go in stage 1. What a run by Kevin Harvick.
Well, if it's like any other doubleheader we've seen this weekend, Hamlin won the first, so Harvick, does that make him automatically the favorite in the second?
Well, he's looking pretty good here as Kevin Harvick trying to win stage 1.
Hell of a job there. Green checker right here.
Look at
Get her cooled off.
that. 6-stage win of the season for the Ford team. Again, battling for points. Jimmy Johnson is going to come home 8th. So 3 points there. But passing on the outside of Ryan Blaney. How about this move?
And he just jumps to that outside quarter panel. This will not allow Blaney to finish the corner. Easy as that.
Easy as that. He made it look easy. Kevin Harvick is going to win stage 1 at the Monster Mile. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy duty lubrication. Drydene.com. Applebee's, handcrafted burgers, all just $8.99. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Toyota. Pit stop's taking place. Parker.
Yes, Kevin Harvick taking pits from the lead. All they did was fine-tune overnight. That's all they're doing on this stop. Just a little bit of fine-tuning to make him turn the center better, Dylan.
William Byron in the center of your screen. His report that it's edgy on entry. Needs help on corner exit as well. 4 tires, right side's going on. A little slow getting the jack drop down. Now they go around to the left, Dave.
Ryan Blaney will finally get those original Goodyear tires off his car. Just couldn't hang with the 4 coming with the new tires on, so they'll make a significant chassis adjustment as well for a loose race car, according to Ryan Blaney. We'll see who does strategy, who wins the race off the pit road here, Rick.
And Harvick looking very strong. He's going to win the race off the pit road. Blaney will stay in second. William Byron holds on to third after that stop. Stage 1 is complete. The NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. And it looks as though there might be an issue with the track. This concrete track we mentioned earlier, one of the oldest, if not the oldest surface of the NASCAR tracks that we visit on a weekly basis. And we're seeing from Dustin Long, yep, NASCAR confirming that they did repair patches in the restart zone since Saturday's race. And potentially there is an issue with one of those patches. And so now you're seeing these vehicles come up. We're hearing that NASCAR may have to red flag this so that they can take a look at this patch and potentially do something with it. Now, in the past, we have seen them do a quick drying filler. We're also right now seeing that they're grinding away, cutting some of that concrete out of there.
This happened here before, around 2014, somewhere around there. We had a problem similar to this. It's amazing how fast they can put this compound in there and it'll dry.
So Jeff, sorry, I was actually on the phone with NASCAR and talked to them, and they said this is an area of concern they've had over the last couple of days. They've worked on it. They worked on it last night. We have to remember this ran an entire Xfinity race today with the repair that they had in place. So this isn't something that just popped up in 75 laps, but they said that they have some material they could put in there. It's quick drying. It takes about 10 minutes for it to dry back to a raceable condition. So they feel that they should be able to repair that, and they feel that repair should be able to go the last 236 laps without issue, seeing as how we have already run a 200-lap Xfinity race on the repair today. So we're at 275 laps worth of work.
AMR
We've seen this concrete come up before at racetracks. Remember Martinsville affected Jeff Gordon. Went through his radiator.
I don't want to talk about that one.
I said it just
might have been a part of that.
It's happened here at Dover.
Yeah.
Big Murray, right?
2016.
Well, yeah, 2014.
14.
Look at that big old piece right there. Watch him hit this. Boom.
And so they don't want that to happen again. And that's why the work is being done here on the track. So that was back in 2014. Steve, as you mentioned, the NASCAR is telling us it takes about 10 minutes to dry once they put it in. They're cleaning out the area right now.
Yeah, so this is an area that they knew existed, and it was of concern, but they have been repairing it throughout the weekend. It made it without issue yesterday. We had a doubleheader race. They repaired it again last night with the hopes of it would once again make a doubleheader race, and obviously it hasn't. For whatever reason, the repair didn't quite last as well. We've run 200 laps of an Xfinity Series, 75 laps of this race, so we're 275 laps in, 236 laps to go. My math tells me that hopefully this will be the only time we need to see it repaired, but this is an interesting time. And this red flag right here is a good time for drivers and crew chiefs to really stop for a minute and discuss what they're having for handling issues, what they need to change. Hope we'll see who can make good adjustments.
Again, just starting the second stage and now under red flag for track repair. We'll be right back. Track repairs continuing here at the Monster Mile, and looks like it's just a little area that they've got to work on. But as they're working on that, we want to talk about what an incredible day of racing that is going on. The Indianapolis 500 taking place right now. This is the second race of the doubleheader for the Cup Series. Xfinity Series has already had 2 races. And earlier this morning, the Austrian MotoGP had an incredible finish. Listen.
Can Miller hold on? Oliveira, he's trying to find a way through on Espargaro as well. It's a last lap thriller from Thriller Miller. Can he hang on here in the Red Bull Ring? Can he keep the cat? He's got the run going. Here comes Espargaro over the crest, down and hit the brake. He's over turn 9. Espargaro's got the inside line. Can he keep it? He's up the inside. Oh my goodness, he's all there. It's all on the line. Jack goes up the inside. The chip is landing. It's going to be done. Oliveira wins it. Unbelievable. What a finish. What a last lap.
I love motorsports. Look at that.
That's how you get your first win right there.
Miguel Oliveira, and I mean, 3 bikes fighting it out there at the end. That was awesome. And that's the way the day started.
So would either one of you guys do that? Like, Junior, would you ride a motorcycle that fast?
No, I don't think I would.
Oh, I thought you were talking about fix this track, and I'd say, yeah, I could help him.
I was going to say,
ready.
yeah, that's right up your alley.
All right, so while we have a little break, again, under red flag condition, let's dial up 7-time champion and 11-time winner at this racetrack.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Burton and all the guys up in the booth. You got us?
Got you, buddy.
Well, sitting there running 6 right now. How you feel about your car?
We've made our car a lot better from yesterday, but it looks like the rest of these guys have too. But it's driving good, a couple small changes here and there. But looking forward to settling in and running some laps and hopefully get some long runs. I think that's where our car will really shine.
Man, it's intense up here watching these points and watching you guys battle to get into playoffs. How intense is it in your seat?
Yeah, it's intense. I mean, I'm aware of where the 21 and the 24 are, and 24 got a few more points than us there in that stage. They look to be running a lot better today than they did yesterday. So, you look, you pay attention, but at the same time, you really just got to run your own race and not get sucked into what other people are doing. I need to make sure that I don't make any mistakes, and my team doesn't, and that we maximize on everything we can today and let the points fall where they may.
So they're repairing the racetrack. Did you see anything or feel anything with the track?
I really didn't. I noticed there was some white spots on the track during our pace laps, like they worked on something last night, but I did not notice anything when we were up at speed driving through there.
All right, buddy, I appreciate you taking the time. I know all the fans appreciate it. I want to tell you thank you for all you've done for the sport. I know you're trying to get yourself in these playoffs. We're not supposed to be pulling for you, but we are. Have a good day, man.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you to everybody.
And he had made the comment, win. He wants to win. Playoffs would be great, but he wants to win before the season ends. Okay, track repairs continuing. They've put the compound into that cement area there. They're letting it dry. So drivers, when you're behind the wheel and you have to pause right in the middle of a race like this, a red flag comes out, where do your thoughts go after you've talked to your crew chief, told them what you need?
Man, I'm annoyed. I don't want to stop. I want to keep racing. You know, but it is a chance to maybe get a little more specific or descriptive of, you know, what your car's doing. But you can't say too much over the radio. You don't have a digital. You know, everybody else can hear you, so you have to kind of be careful about what you're talking about. But, man, you just want to get the race started. You came here to race, and you don't want to stop.
You know, one thing, too, when you stop, this is when drivers get hot. And we know that it's hotter today at Dover than it was yesterday. So sitting there, you know, you've got your race going. You're trying to make your car better. Now you're just sitting there waiting and not really completely sure why. You've been told the track's being worked on, but you're annoyed. And see right here, that's one good thing, though. That right side window, Steve, that's a change from this week. They took that right side window. You can see that opening in the 13 car. There you go, out the Hunt Brothers cam. That was a solid piece of plexiglass, Lexan, and up until a couple weeks ago, NASCAR let them take that out, and that is a major help to the drivers right now. It gives that hot air a place to go. And just a little bit of breeze now can flow through that car if the wind's blowing at all, and it feels completely different than when it's solid.
I used to get bored and pull up beside people and yell at them, see if they could hear me.
You saw Kevin Harvick has just taken his glove off. So while we've got a minute, let's check in. And by the way, if you're recording Indianapolis 500, I'm going to show you a little glimpse into it here. So look away if you want to. But we're going to check in on the Indy 500 as it's going on right now.
Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden on the track around to Masado a little bit longer on that stop for Dixon and his team. We'll see how that affects the track position and where he cycles out.
There was an issue on the back inside corner on Dixon's car. He was a little slow on that one. So we'll see where they're going to cycle here.
Watch the blend. There's Sato. There's Newgarden coming through turn 2. Scott Dixon trying to get up to speed. Look at this. There they are.
I think
Sato,
he's got enough.
Newgarden, and Rahal in the mix right there, trying to block Newgarden.
Looks like Dixon is safe. There was a little bit of a slow stop, but he had a good in-lap. He's getting up to speed now, but this gap will close down. But it stayed status quo, but that was touch and go, guys.
So all day, Scott Dixon has given up the lead to try to save fuel. But right now, no fuel savings necessary. This is a chance to see how fast Scott Dixon can go to the finish.
2 Indy 500 winners out front, and 2 who are desperate to win it in Newgarden and Rahal. How will this...
And so again, we heard Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with the call there from the Indianapolis 500. That conclusion will take place on NBC. So if you want to see the last, it'll be about 28 laps from the mecca of motorsports there, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The yellow has just come out here, so we know the cars are going to start rolling. You see the drivers strapping back in. There is the patch that was made. They're waiting for that to dry before they put these, what, 3,400-pound cars on there, Steve?
Yeah, 3,400-pound cars pulling 1.5 or 2 Gs. The multiplier goes up. No, you go first. You go first, Rick.
We'll see how it works. But again, a track repair taking place here at Dover.
You know, I think as you pull around here as a driver, you're going to take a look at that area and try to get a good visual of it and straddle it, go below it, go around it for a few laps. You don't want to be the first guy going through that stuff. It's definitely going to have some loose particles, some dust. Not going to have a lot of grip right there on that spot.
And right now you see that AMR vehicle is going to sit there. They're not going to let anybody drive over it for a while, but they wanted to get the cars rolling once again, getting ready for the restart. Choose rule will come back into play. Right now, Kevin Harvick scored as the race leader. Ryan Blaney second. William Byron third. Logano, Keselowski all top 5. Jimmy Johnson 6th. Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Clint Boyer, Martin Truex Jr. all up at the top 10. Cars will ride around here under caution for just a moment. That actually gives you time if you want to gear up for the playoffs. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts and hats, die-cast, much more For all of your favorite drivers, all you have to do, just visit NASCAR.com/shop.
That was another last round of pit stops. We're here in that 10 car of Eric Almirola was speeding on pit road. So he's going to have to go to the back.
And coming up on the choose box.
It's not only a difficult pit road to enter, but it does have a lot of speed penalties over the years.
It's the speed itself. It's only 35 miles an hour, so you're in such an odd RPM range. I think it's easy to find a mile an hour too much.
I think that, and also I think you are, because it's so narrow and we've seen so many incidences, I think you're really focused on the cars around you, and it's hard to do that and pay attention to your tachometer. Dave, what do you have on Joey?
Drivers do so many good things for folks, and last night Joey Logano's foundation and Sonic partnered to have a party at Charlotte Motor Speedway, socially distanced, for some 3,000 medical workers and their families to say thank you. There was all the parking. They got to see a movie, a concert by Lee Bryce headlined there, and just an opportunity to say, for all you've done during the COVID-19 pandemic, we want to thank you. And it was a great night indeed. Joey had a tape response that he wanted to give to them and said thanks. You know, drivers do a ton, and that's something Joey did for the folks around the Charlotte area last night who helped during this pandemic.
Yeah, those first responders, what a great job. And again, Heroes Night Out for the Joey Logano Foundation, always trying to help out the communities.
I can confirm firsthand the concert was loud.
Yes, it was behind us, actually.
Yeah,
We're at Charlotte Motor Speedway right now for this race. Ended with a pretty impressive fireworks display as well. Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Again, stage 2 underway. Harvick, Blaney 1 and 2. 2 Ford Mustangs up front. Logano, also another Ford up there in third. Then the first Chevrolet, William Byron.
Top 3 came from that outside line. William on the inside. Great battle from 5th back here. The 2, the 11. Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin down into turn 1. Truex right on the back bumper that 2. Making it a little loose.
Ah, she's loose.
He gets him a little loose. The 11 squirts out in front. And now can the 19 do it again? Get that 2 loose enough that he can get by him.
Matty D up the hill a little bit. Clint Boyer going to try to get underneath him.
Matt's going to try to pass his 48 on the outside. They all got bottled up with that 2 car getting loose, and Matt jumped to the outside, but that might cost him if 14 can get there. He can't. Matt gets down to the bottom here. Saves that position.
Remember, Jimmy Johnson mentioned Matt DiBenedetto as one of the guys that, you know, he's watching for that playoff spot right there at the bubble, the cutoff line.
Yeah, Matt just didn't have a very good day yesterday. Started with track position today, but you know, as the race wears on, 82 laps in, Rick, the same cars that were strong yesterday, even where they started, they've moved to the front. Harvick, Logano, Hamlin, Keselowski, Truex, a lot of the same players.
Dylan.
Talking about Matt DiBenedetto right there, and kind of to your point, Steve, yesterday they had the same problem. They started out okay, just couldn't really find the track position to get up far enough, and now they have the track position and are starting to fall back, just migrating towards exactly the same problem they were dealing with yesterday, which is no right rear grip. So trying to correct that problem before it gets too bad, but he's just hanging on inside the top 10 right now.
Behind him had a strong run yesterday, running well again today. Steve, you rattled off some cars that were up in the front, and you talked about the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. He really wasn't running that great at the start of the race, but how do you win races? He was running 11th at the end of stage 1. Came off pit road in 7th. Then he went and got 2 spots on the restart. Now he's up to 5th. So it's a team effort. It takes everybody. Drivers got to get up on the wheel at the right time. Pit crew's got to get it done. So in just 1 exchange, 2 exchanges, a pit stop and a restart from 11th to 5th, that's how you win races.
Well, how do you move into the top 10? Other people have to move out, and they move out by mistakes. The 3 of Austin Dillon was having a great day running inside the top 10. He pitted under that caution, ended up having loose lug nuts, had to come in a second time, currently running in the 23rd position. So you mentioned, Jeff, you laid it out how Denny Hamlin got up there. Well, that is what happens, right? Other people fumble positions, and now Austin Dillon's back here grinding away, trying to drive back up into the top 20 with a pretty good race car. I mean, this is the second time they had a speeding penalty late yesterday.
Almirola's back here with him, and he had that speeding penalty. So again, a mistake as we see slow on the racetrack. J.J. Yaley in the 27.
Should be able to turn left right here into the Xfinity Series garage. Let's see if he chooses that option. Should be a gate right to his left.
And now he's
looks like he's got fired back up there.
Oh, but still on the apron.
He's going to be able to make it back.
Yaley's run every race but the Daytona 500.
Flash out the hood and start smoking.
Starts the season as he goes on to pit road.
That's never good.
Yeah, not the feedback you want.
2 and 19, fighting for spots. That is the 6th position that Keselowski has. Martin Truex Jr. wants it.
Martin came so close to winning that race yesterday. See, Brad got really loose just before the middle of the corner. Martin able to close in on him. So much fun watching these cars this weekend. This tire and aero combination has these cars dancing all over the racetrack. Drivers have a ton of work going on inside.
Let's see if the 19 can move around. That was one of his downfalls yesterday. You mentioned it, Dale Jr. He couldn't get off the bottom of the racetrack. Once again, he's just wrapping that apron.
I think right now that's, Brad's almost giving it to him. See, Brad can't really run the bottom right there. Parker, what do you have on Martin?
Well, Jeff, remember yesterday you guys remarked he basically built loose, and that's what lost him the race. He was not able to move around because that car was too loose. And James Small told me, we just fine-tuned some things, made adjustments. But since this race has started, Martin has not been happy with the front end of that race car. It's been tight. It felt like almost like the splitters in the track. He's not been able to get the feel out of the front end of that race car they want. So they really haven't fixed that building loose condition, or they've just gone too far and obviously made it tight.
One difference I see, though, is now the 19's climbing the banking. He has options. Yesterday, I didn't think he had these options. We'll see if the options work to get around the two of Brad Keselowski. He gets that momentum on corner exit. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel? Oh, Brad shuts the door.
Yeah, Brad's going to get
but up the track he goes.
Yeah, got some lap traffic right here.
Yep. Truex going to use the pick.
Yep, he'll use it as a pick. He'll get by the 2 and take that position. You saw the 48 try to stick the nose in there. Also wanting to take the spot away from Brad.
I could listen to that throttle on Martin Truex Jr. all day. I mean, that is so much skill.
So while these guys are back here fighting for positions, want to take a look at today's Xfinity fastest lap, and it's the guy up front. And it happened on lap 80. Look at the top 3. Harvick, Blaney, and Byron, all on lap 80, running the fastest laps of the day.
I think what stands out to me on that is the difference between the fastest and the second fastest. If you could be 2.5 tenths of a second faster than somebody else, that's an amazing amount.
And Harvick continuing to set the pace. His closest competition has been Ryan Blaney. The two have battled all day. But right now it has been Harvick out front, winning stage 1 up front as well here. Fourth caution has come out for the Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. And saw a little frustration out of the 32 of Corey LaJoie with the 13 of Ty Dillon.
Yeah, we saw a little smoke off turn 2. Let's see what happened. Oh, Ty's got him turned sideways. Corey, does he go all the way around?
Can it be saved?
I think he does. Save it. Well, good job by him to keep that car out of the fence. It's almost impossible to do here because of the banking.
Look at the right front fender, though.
Yeah, he has a little damage
on the right front.
Are you saying there's more to the story, Jeff?
Yes, I think there may be.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying there.
Look at the deck lid, too.
So damage to the left rear quarter panel of Corey LaJoie. We saw him sideways after the 13 got into him. Also a little bit of damage on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Dave, how they doing?
Well, he's had an interesting day. The first damage actually knocked the transponder off. He had to come get that put back on so he could be scored. But lately, it's been this.
I never have any front turn in reserve. I've always had max steering wheel, so I can't do anything. Max steering wheel rolling behind a guy. I got nothing to give it to turn underneath him.
And that's a problem when you have no more to give to get around a guy, right?
Yeah, so he's just way too tight. So Junior, he's got a lot of wheel put in, meaning how much he's having to turn the steering wheel to get it to turn the corner just all by himself. And of course, when he gets behind somebody, that gets worse because the air comes off his car.
Yes, they've made repairs to that car. They understand the bracing on the splitter rack is broken, and they've had to cut away a little bit of that right front fender and repair that damage. It's just not going to have that grip he's looking for. Pits are open. Cars are coming down pit road. Parker.
Rodney Childers told Kevin Harvick, we can make it from here to the end of the stage. We'll absolutely be pitting. Small air pressure adjustment, and they're actually in the right rear there. You see 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Dylan.
William Byron coming into his stall. Stall as well. Said he was a little bit free on entry. Chad Knaus confirmed that, said that the only place they're really getting beat is on entry to turn 3. Going to try and snug him up a little bit with an air pressure adjustment, Dave.
This time Ryan Blaney pits with everybody just like he wanted to. Fired off a little bit snug, loosening as he went, but not as bad as the first run. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
And look at this, Logano with a great stop is going to win the race off pit road. Logano, Harvick, Blaney, Hamlin, Truex, top 5 off the pit road. the official app of NASCAR, puts race coverage and live in-car cameras right where you want it. Unlock premium content today with a free trial. Search NASCAR in your app store or visit NASCAR.com/mobile. And you see the 48 slow from high above. The aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. They were caught for speeding on pit road.
There's more speed penalties here at Dover than anywhere else. We talked about it, you know, and I think it's like you said, Jeff. You're trying to not hit anybody, and you're trying to watch your tack because we don't have speedometers. You got to do your speed off of the tack and RPM in second gear. So looking at that, try not to run into the guy in front of you.
Jimmy, when we talked to Jimmy during that red flag, he mentioned we cannot make mistakes, right? And just a mistake that's going to be costly. A lot of cars still in the lead lap. Let's listen in and see what they told Jimmy about the bad news.
It was the very first section on entry. Anything noticeable on your end there? I thought the 19 would have got it. He rolled in faster than I did. I checked it more than he did for that first segment.
Oh, the old electronic scoring. How NASCAR works is basically they go over timing lines. There's a screen in the NASCAR tower. If your number pops up red, it's too fast. So
it was 1/10 of a mile per hour was what it was.
You know what it could have been? Could have been 100. It wouldn't have mattered.
It was still over. Look at this. Oh, man. Right in the side of the head, the jack hit the tire changer.
That was Jimmy's first speed penalty of the season, came at the worst time of the year.
So speed limit is 40.1. So the speed limit is 35, but NASCAR gives you a 5 miles per hour buffer. And of course that means the speed limit's really 40, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But Jimmy Johnson went 40.1 miles per hour.
You know, and Rick, talking to Jimmy this weekend about, you know, the points and trying to make the playoffs, he reminded me of something that I knew, but I needed it pushed forward in my brain. You know, he's got 2 goose eggs on the year.
Yes.
They were DQ'd at Charlotte, 0 points.
Yep.
And he was sat out at Indy for being COVID positive, 0 points. So here he is battling to make the playoffs with 2 zeros in the column of points earned. So, you know, he's trying to do this with 2 less races than his competitors.
Look at them points right now. With Jimmy back there. 24 up the top 10, 32 out.
Getting ready for the restart. Harvick on the inside, Logano on the outside.
Harvick did a really good job keeping pace with Joey Logano on that start. Such an advantage restarting that outside.
Slides up right behind the 22. Blaney still fighting for the 3rd spot. Here comes the 11. Denny Hamlin asked to get out of the gas there, almost into the left rear quarter panel of Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, he did. He did Ryan a favor there. Pretty tight racing. Blaney able to take the spot.
See that bright yellow car kind of halfway through your screen. Randy Benedetto, he was struggling on that restart. Several going by him.
Yeah, guys moved up into the top 10. Christopher Bell having a good run. We didn't talk about him yesterday. Right there in that 95 car.
It was not a good day for the 95.
No.
Sure.
Doing well today. It's interesting seeing guys make such big changes or big improvements, really.
Yeah, he did no tires on that stop, so that gave him a lot of track position.
Christopher Bell, one of those drivers that has formed a relationship with his sponsor. Rheem has been a part of his racing career for quite some time. So Bell with that Rheem 95, and we know that he won't be back with the 95 next year. Change taking place there, that team going away as far as Levine Family Racing, where he's running now. Also knowing that the 20 driver Eric Jones won't be back with Joe Gibbs Racing. So you put those 2 together and you would expect to see the Christopher Bell back with Joe Gibbs Racing. Parker?
And Rick, I talked to Jason Ratcliffe this morning about Christopher Bell's first adventure at Dover in a Cup car. He loved this place in Xfinity car, and he said, you know, the thing that was interesting yesterday was we could go really fast when the top side came in. But until then, we were really struggling. As you see him getting forced to the outside there. He said, I hope today we can find a way to make this car work better in those first 20 to 30 laps, and maybe we can give him something to race with in the second half of the run there.
Watching the 4-car Harvick, who's dominated pretty much since he's gotten up front. Try to get back by this 22 car, take this lead.
Really interesting line that Harvick runs.
I was just going to mention that.
Watch him, he drives in the corner. Not on the bottom, but kind of, you know, half a lane up, then up the racetrack.
Used to watch him run that line in practice and wonder, you know, and I tried to run it in practice, couldn't really get it to work, but he wasn't trying to make speed there. He knows he needs to run this line to be able to pass, because if he just follows the 22 around the bottom, he's going to be in dirty air. So he allows the car to diamond up in the middle of the corner, Jeff, to get a little air on the nose right here so it turns, or just to jump on the outside of this 22 and try to pass him on the outside.
Yeah, he got to the back of the 22 car, and that just got Joey Logano really loose. We've seen that a lot. Remember, this year, took a lot of spoiler off the car for this race versus last year, and the drivers are using that to their advantage, pulling the air off that car in front of them. Now Harvick's going to go back to work, going to go right back to running and doing what got him to this spot, and that is running this line. Now he's to that quarter pounder. Now Joey's done. There's no fight anymore. Joey knows it.
And it's not that Joey just wants to give the spot up. He can't get in the gas running on the inside of the 4 car off the corner. It's just, there's no bite, there's no drive in either of these cars, but the guy on the bottom is really handicapped and can't use the throttle.
I think Kevin Harvick also, guys, let's go back and watch this pass once again. Kevin just rolls up on the outside, and then right here, just able to carry partial throttle. And now Logano's in trouble because Kevin's on the outside of him. That pulls the air off the 22 spoiler, and now he does not have the grip he needs. But what enabled Kevin to get there was to drive in the corner and quickly go to the throttle, carry a lot of speed through the middle to get that spot.
Stage 1 winner Kevin Harvick back out in front. Joey Logano running in the 2nd spot. Blaney, Hamlin, Truex Jr. all in the top 5.
Guys, I feel like with Hamlin's win yesterday, Steve, you said it earlier, Hamlin quietly won both stages and won the race. Like, right. And just dominated. Well, we've talked all year about Harvick and Hamlin. Well, this is Harvick's chance to take some of that thunder back away, get a win.
Yeah, Steve, you mentioned it. The double headers, it seems like it's the Denny and Kevin shows. I mean, one wins one day, the next day, the next one will win. So they go back and forth.
A couple guys back here in the middle of the pack. 41 car. Cole Custer running in 11th place. Alex Bowman had some damage yesterday early in the race. He says he likes this track. Watching his social media last night, recap his event, talking about how much fun he enjoys racing here. Starting to move through the field up to 12th.
Much like the 88 of Bowman, the 20 of Eric Jones had damage in the race yesterday, and he's got damage in the race again today, but still working pretty good. He's a couple spots behind Bowman in 14th.
Dave.
Interesting thing on Alex Bowman. You realize yesterday he finished 21st after they repaired that race car. And it was pretty well damaged. You know, if they had finished 20th, guess where they would have started today? On the pole. So the team told me they really were sorry he couldn't get one more position, and man, he tried. But instead they went to a backup car and rolled out the 88 off the trailer. But one more position, he would have been on the pole and fixed, guys.
Yeah, me and Steve, we were talking about, Alex says he likes this place, but that was with the other package, the high downforce, low power. Seems to be making this package work as well.
Yeah, that was my question. I mean, you know, when you look at his numbers at Dover, they were not that outstanding until last year. Last year, he really kind of showed up on the scene with all of that downforce. I wondered how much would translate. And yesterday, you mentioned the damage. I had no idea. You know, 3rd and 2nd last year. Well, from what I've seen today, I think the damage was holding him back more than I thought yesterday.
4th place battle right here. Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr. Two guys that showed out yesterday, working their way through the field toward the front, renewing their battle. Truex, I think, definitely tightened his car up, maybe more than he wanted to. That's the fear, I think, of working on that car. I mean, almost the race-winning car, but what do you change to improve it? You might turn the wrong knob.
That, and an Xfinity race earlier today, and this race is just going to continue to rubber this racetrack up and change. So how much do you change? How much do you think the racetrack's going to go through a complete change in the way the cars drive? That's always so difficult to figure out.
Yesterday, it was Denny Hamlin passing Martin Truex Jr. for the lead and an eventual win.
Martin told me his car was so loose entering the corner he couldn't move around. He couldn't run the middle or the top like he wanted to. And I don't see him turning right or checking the back of the car into the corner too badly today. So they've improved that part.
Let's roll back here and check in on Jimmy Johnson to see what kind of progress he's made. Gained 11 spots, back up to 19th.
Again, after the speeding penalty, had to go to the back.
That's what I'm waiting to see out of Jimmy. You know, he did a great job yesterday with a solid car, but stayed inside the top 10 all day. Had never had a reason where he had to fight this type of adversity, this much traffic to get back up there. Can the 48 and Jimmy Johnson have enough equipment underneath him to recover? Currently in 19th. We're not even halfway in this race. You know, there's still a long way to go. This season, they've had okay cars, but not good enough cars for a recovery. Let's listen in to the progress on the 48.
That was our mulligan for pit road and for the pit stop. Pit stop guys, we're going to shake it off, shake everything off. We've got a fast car. We're going to keep it clean. We're going to be smart. A lot of racing left to do. We'll be there at the end.
Cliff Daniels, a nice pep talk. And hey, if you want to look at the positive, the bad pit stop came on the speeding. So you got a 2-for-1. You only had to go to the back once. So, you know, Jimmy Johnson up to 17th. I like what I'm seeing out of his car, Jeff. You know, he's obviously working, but he doesn't look like he's swatting flies in there, right? Looks like the car's rotating pretty good. A few small corrections, but comfortably rolls the bottom.
Yeah, and making a lot of spots up. There were a lot of cars right there in front of him that he could make spots up pretty quickly and doing a good job working through them.
3 of Austin Dillon, just a couple in front. We told earlier how he had to go to the back as well, and he's trying to recover. Oh, it's the
Jimmy. 4 wide right here.
Oh! Almost sideways, the 3 of Austin Dillon. Catches it.
And the 8-car Reddick sent it in there to the top. The lap car there, tight for everybody. Dillon.
Junior Austin just came on the radio a lap or so ago and said, we are really, really good right now. This is encouraging, too. Justin Alexander, the crew chief, feels like over the course of these races, they tend to fall off a little bit, lose some speed. So they're running 15th right now, but progress, at least for sure, that they're happy with the race car, and Austin feels like he can move around and advance his position.
Let's watch this smooth off the roof of Jimmy Reddick to the outside of these guys. I don't think Austin knew what was going on there. He's thinking that 20 car was going to get up the racetrack a little bit.
And watch this. Watch Ryan Blaney. Watch inside the car. How much work Ryan Blaney's doing. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's nowhere. It's just constant work inside of there.
Constant work out of these drivers. Go NASCAR nonstop with Harvick up front. Tonight on NBC, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs continue with Boston and Tampa Bay. Game 1 in their best of 7. Second round series coverage beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. The battle continues here at the Monster Mile. You see the 48 a little bit loose, was able to get by both the 8 and the 3. So Jimmy Johnson, after the speeding penalty, has moved up to the 14th position. Continuing to move forward. Kevin Harvick, though, has been the fastest. Won stage 1. Out in front, and he has a 2.2 second lead over Joey Logano. Let's go through the field, brought to you by Applebee's, and we'll start with Parker.
All right, Rick, Kevin has been awesome so far through this race, but you know, you guys allude to how the 11 him have traded barbs and blows on these doubleheaders. Well, last night, Rodney tweeted after they had that track bar issue, it was our turn. I asked him what he meant by that. He said, you know, every time we've had one of these doubleheaders, the 11 has an issue on the first day, and we go on to have a great day, and then they get it together for the next day. He said, it's our turn this time in a doubleheader to have that first day not go our way, but get it together on the second day, Dave.
Parker, remember on that last pit stop, Joey Logano's pit crew got him 2 spots on pit road and the lead. But tire carrier Jeremy Ogles rolled his right ankle. Just talked to Jeremy, who was getting it iced up. He's going. He's a tough guy. He'll be back for the next pit stop. Ryan Blaney, meanwhile, in 3rd position, talks to Todd Gordon, his crew chief, this morning. He said, you know what, we had top 10 speed yesterday, even though we finished 14th. He said, and I was encouraged by that because we really did not have good balance. They worked on it overnight, and with a better starting position today of 7th, Blaney's parlayed that into a top 3 run at this point. Denny Hamlin runs in the 4th position. Talked to Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, this morning about win number 6 yesterday. He said, yep, I wanted another one. It gives me a comfort factor going to Daytona, and you're going to see us re-rolling today and next week at Daytona for maybe a couple more. Parker.
And Dave, chasing him down right now is Martin Truex Jr., who lost the race yesterday to that guy in front of him. But the reason he lost it in his mind, he had some choice words for Eric Almirola in the 10 car, who was 1 lap down as they came to the last 10 laps of the race. Martin tried to pass him. He couldn't get around Eric. And he was very frustrated how Eric stayed tried to stay 1 lap down there. And he basically said this isn't going on through the season. These two have had run-ins throughout the year. He hasn't had problems with Eric before, but this season, forever, they've run into each other. They've been around each other too often. Not happy with the 10 car for Martin Truex. Dylan.
Much better day today for William Byron as he runs in the 6th spot. You see there to the left of your screen, bubble points. He's in the playoffs right now, having a much better day. Chad Knaus said yesterday they were solid here earlier or last year rather. They expected to be much better yesterday. This is more par for the course for them, running solid. No mistakes today, having a nice afternoon running in 6th, Dave.
Brad Keselowski runs 7th. Talked to his crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, this morning about the New Hampshire win he had a couple of weeks ago and how important that was. He said, absolutely, with the Richmond doubleheader coming up and Phoenix to close out the season, those both apply, and that win gave us confidence, Dylan.
Kurt Busch run to the 8th spot. He's been inside the top 10 most of the afternoon after starting 40th. Matt McCall made a strategy call earlier in this race to stay out, make some headway early. They've done a nice job as well, keeping the track position. A good day for them means continuously moving forward, trying to put together a complete day here after starting at the back. Dave?
9th, Alex Bowman. We documented the fact that he started at the rear of the field hauling out a backup car. Interestingly, though, this is the same motor that was in the other car. That's part of the rule, so they had to get that out. They actually worked on tweaking the motor for today while it was still in the original car while they prepared the backup, but he's running strong this afternoon. Finally, Clint Boyer running in 10th. We thought the 14 might have some speed today, but the biggest problem for him has been one of handling. Listen.
Bruce, I need help. What do I need to do? Go fast.
Not much consolation there from his spotter. Loose all day for Clint. He's trying to hang on most of the time, Rick.
Loose. We heard from Boyer. His teammate Kevin Harvick just clinched the regular season championship, where he is running and the points that he has been able to accumulate already. So Kevin Harvick, 15 playoff points, and he still has a race to go as far as not only this one, potentially gaining some more here, but Daytona that will end the regular season. But Kevin Harvick has just clinched the regular season championship. All right, folks, if you are recording the Indy 500, look away. I'm going to let you know what just happened A very late race accident involving Spencer Pigot. Take a look at this. Coming out of turn 4, gets around, hits the outside wall, but watch what happens when he comes back across the track just at pit road entrance. Oh my goodness. A huge wreck there for Spencer Pigot. You're going to see here in just a moment. The safety crew gets to him, gets him out of the car. He is okay. With the caution coming out, that would mean the 104th Indianapolis 500 would end under caution. Takuma Sato gets his second Indy 500 win and savors the melt. And he's up on that second floor of Victory Lane there. That's one of the things that Roger Penske did, put a lift in for the car and the driver to get up so that everybody could see him, which of course no fans in attendance, but that'll be there for next year.
I'm excited for the fans next year. So many improvements, Rick, when they get back to that track. The NASCAR weekend, for the Indy weekend, so many great things for the fans to experience.
Sato's 43 years old, second oldest driver behind Ari Leyendijk, won in '97. Sorry. Yeah, I like old guys.
We knew something was coming.
Yeah. It's actually not the second oldest ever. It's since Leyendijk won it in '97. But
Jeff went into like a little reminiscing there. He was kind of like reminiscing. You know, I like those old guys.
Just gave him his space. Let him go. What about space right here? How about recovery for two guys on the weekend? The one in the 88 right there just had an awful, start to the weekend with accidents early, and they've come back on the second day and had pretty good runs, as we see 47 limping around after an accident early, 90-something laps down, but trying to gain some points.
Ryan Blaney catching his teammate Joey Logano for second place. Riding on board, let's listen to that throttle late in the run.
Interesting listening to Ryan Blaney and how he has to work that throttle. He'll continue to do it. Ryan Blaney right now running third, still chasing after Harvick and Logano as we go NASCAR nonstop. just past the halfway point for the NASCAR Cup Series in the Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. It's called the Monster Mile, and so far it has been a monster of an effort for Kevin Harvick. I want to welcome those of you that were watching the Indy 500 and saw that finish, and obviously the spectacular crash there toward the end. We have had maybe not so spectacular of a crash, but it started off with an incident early on here. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47 gets tagged by the 22. Around he goes. The inside wall collects him.
A lot of guys got involved in this. You'll see the 9 running in the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch. That took Chase Elliott out of the race.
And damage at 18, and they've not run well since.
Stage 1, you see the run here by Kevin Harvick. He goes to the outside of Ryan Blaney and wins the first stage here at Dover.
Got a red flag for some issues on the racetrack. Track crew got in there and fixed it all up for us.
And then a repeat. Kevin Harvick goes by Joey Logano, and now he's out front here in stage 2. Only 19 laps to go to end stage 2. Playoff points with only 2 races to go. This race and then Daytona next week. So Daytona is the big wild card coming up next week.
You see Jimmy Johnson currently in the 17th position, the first driver out. A good day yesterday, gained a lot of points on the 24. Was just caught speeding on pit road on the last pit stop. Started all the way at the back, has driven up to the 12th position. So I know it doesn't look good points-wise, but car-wise, it does look good for Jimmy Johnson. A great car for him today. Can he get up and compete? Maybe get that golden ticket, a win. Automatic berth.
Kevin Harvick is about 7 seconds ahead of Joe Logano, but the battle right now, Joe Logano, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr., all the guys in the top 5 are within a second or so of each other as we wind down toward the end of stage 2.
And remember, at the end of the stage, the top 10 can get points. The top 10 will get points. And so if you have a guy like William Byron, who's currently running in the 6th position and is right there on the line as far as getting into the playoffs or not, he's going to be able to gain some points. And that's huge for the 24 as we listen to his radio.
I think I'm overall just a bit too loose, maybe. If we're on the loose, the one thing I can see is a little bit cleaner arc into the corner would be matching the 48 car. Everything else looks about the same if we're on the loose.
Man, what a difference a day would make.
Wow,
We
yeah.
listened in yesterday. Dale Jr., you and I talked about this. A very animated driver, a very animated crew chief. And we said, listen, they're not that way. They're just having a bad day. They were outside the top 20. You move them up inside the top 10 in the 6th position. A much calmer demeanor between William and Chad. And with that calmer demeanor, much more productive.
You know, Williams done a great job today. Running up front in the top 5, top 10 throughout most of the race and getting stage points, where Jimmy Johnson's got a few points today, but he's struggled with that speeding penalty. Dylan.
Junior, we heard Williams talking about how loose he is. Right after that, Tab Boyd, the spotter, came on the radio and said, if it's not too loose that you want to tighten it up, I would leave it alone. So they're trying to prevent getting too tight on this next stop. So crew chief Steve, how do you balance that? How do you keep it maybe too free, but also not get it too tight?
You have to understand where you think the track is going. Remember, this has been a very long green flag run, 66 laps. Look at the color of the racetrack. Much darker. I mean, look at it all the way across, apron to wall. All of that black rubber, that's changing the handling. So you got to kind of do a little bit of an educated guess. Luckily for William Byron, his crew chief has won 11 times here with Jimmy Johnson, so he knows how to get it done. Speaking of Jimmy, inside the one of Kurt Busch.
Yeah, this is for 10th place. This is critical because this will be a stage point. Not only a position right here, 1 point for that, but also a stage point should he finish in the top 10 here.
Jimmy Johnson is flying. He is, you said it, Steve, he had to come from the back of the pack. He's been really smart about how he's gotten up through there, but he may have the fastest car on the racetrack.
Look at
We've not
Kurt
seen
Busch.
anyone pass that many cars today.
Kurt Busch fought back, though, stayed in front of him, and here comes Clint Boyer back into the picture.
But, Rick, this is what the fan base has been wanting to see out of Jimmy Johnson. His nickname is Superman. 83 wins, 7 championships. He always put it on his shoulders. Here, he was speeding. His pit crew had a slow pit stop. This is the Jimmy Johnson we have been looking for. He has driven it from the back of the field all the way to 10th. Under green, there's been no tricks. There's been no yellows. He has passed a ton of cars, 19 on this run alone. Parker.
And Steve, I think that's a big point for this race team. You know, Cliff Daniels puts a lot of pressure on himself knowing he has that 7-time champ behind the wheel and the pressure to get this 48 back to where you said, where the fans want to be, challenging for wins in the top 10, getting points like here. He said last night we had to look ourselves in the mirror and say, how do we make this better? We had to rethink everything we do at Dover because we ran 7th with Jimmy Johnson. We're better than that, and they're showing it today.
That's for third right there. Blaney has it. Denny Hamlin wants to take it away.
Yesterday we heard Martin Truex Jr. complaining about cars in front of him, feeling like they were taking his line away from him. Well, he had run Denny Hamlin down, changed his line, ran the top, and then Denny went to the top. And immediately, Martin Truex, car's out of the racetrack. You see it doesn't have the grip, and watch the reaction. Come on, man. Why are you taking the line from me?
Because they're racing.
That's right, it's Denny's job. It's pretty simple. Race car driver's job is pretty simple. Pass the cars in front of you and keep the ones behind you behind you.
And 11 was finding a new top right there, wasn't he, Rick?
Yeah,
all
right up
the way
next
up
to
by
the
the fence.
And once again, look at how high the 11 of Denny Hamlin, who won this race yesterday, is going.
Yeah, I understand the frustration, but I don't know that Denny's looking in the mirror and driving wherever Martin is in the corner. I wasn't that good. I don't think that any driver's doing that. But Denny on the inside of this 12 car.
This will be a tough pass right here. Blaney's running that top. It'll be really hard for Hamlin to make it work on the bottom. Got to keep putting pressure on him.
He's putting it on him right there.
Here comes Martin Truex Jr. as well in the 19. Look at the run he has.
Yeah, the 11 of Denny Hamlin got the 12 loose. He had to stay out of the throttle. Both those guys checked up. The 19 gets into this fight. 11 to the top. He's going to go up there and get on that top. 3 wide.
Look
Truex
at Martin
on the inside.
Truex. Yeah, Truex is going to take advantage of the loose 12. He goes by him. Denny Hamlin clears on the high side.
William Byron is thinking, points. Yeah. I can get by Blaney.
Oh, he's going to tag the 11.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there.
So William Byron in the 24 gets to the back of the 12 of, Ryan Blaney. Doesn't move him out of the way, but he definitely let him know he was there.
Look at Blaney. He's so loose. The back of the car is just around on it. Williams got to keep the pressure on him. Get right to that rear bumper. Pull the air off that spoiler.
He's got to try this top here. That's what he needs to do. With that 12 car's pinned to the bottom, trying to just survive.
I think that 12 car is so loose, though. If you could just run up right here, just run up in the corner with him. Get him loose on corner entry.
This has been a long green flag run, 75 laps, only 4 laps to go in stage 2. Look at the run William Byron has now.
Now Blaney, now watch what happens. That just pushes all the air underneath that 12 car. Makes it very unstable. Still can't get the pass done.
I think Blaney's taking advantage of William and how nice he is. William needs to get to that outside and try to jump on that right rear quarter panel. That's just how Harvick took the lead from this 12 car early in the race. That's how Denny just got around the 12 car moments ago.
I agree with you, Dale Jr. The 24 looks good running the top. He has good exit speed. Get on the outside of that 12. Get on that right rear, and that 12 car will only become looser.
He keeps trying to pass him on the bottom. Let's see if he can get it done. But
good run here. Can he get back to the gas?
Just can't do it. They're on the oldest tires they've been on all day. There's no grip down there when you're on the inside of somebody.
And behind them, Jimmy Johnson, he has moved up to 9th place. So another point for Jimmy Johnson.
Final lap of stage 2. See on the top of your screen the 4 of Kevin Harvick. We've mentioned the age of the winner of the Indy 500. How about the 44-year-old Kevin Harvick is going to win stage 2. He sweeps the first 2 stages from the Monster Mile. Points being earned by everyone in the top 10. Harvick, Logano, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Blaney, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Cole Custer, Jimmy Johnson, and Brad Keselowski, all in the top 10. Well, the 2014 champion has been dominant already today in this, the second day of the doubleheader. Kevin Harvick winning stage 1 and stage 2. diehard batteries you know and trust are now at Advance. Unrivaled performance meets unrivaled expertise. Diehard batteries now at Advance Auto Parts. And pit stops taking place now.
Yeah, Truex first pit stall in will come to the stop. Car very inconsistent. Says it's tight through the middle, snappy, loose off. Looking for James Small to make some adjustments to try to help him be more consistent. Parker.
And Kevin Harvick, the leader, in as well, just struggling being loose and needing forward drive in that 4 car.
William Byron in the middle of your screen. He is reporting that he's just a little bit too loose. Air pressure adjustment, but they've garnered stage points in both of these stages, 8 more than the 48, Dave.
Second place, Joey Logano in. His car is not going to cross the center of the corner. Entry and exit are okay. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires. And the front tire is carried by Jeremy Ogles. Remember, a sore right ankle. He does it anyway. And Joey will have a good pit stop.
Harvick holding on. His crew has a great stop. The top 4 holding their positions. William Byron and that 24 crew gaining a spot on pit road. Blaney loses 1. Bowman, Custer, Johnson, you saw them holding their positions. Want to check in with Brad and KP from NBC Sports Charlotte. All right, Kyle Petty, we have seen some exciting things happen this weekend. A dominant performance yesterday by Denny Hamlin, and now are we going to see the same thing out of Kevin Harvick?
I don't know why we wouldn't. I mean, he's done it week in and week out. So has Denny Hamlin. But I'm telling you, I got to give a tip of the hat to 24 William Byron and Chad Knaus. Those guys so far have risen to the challenge, have shouldered that pressure, and have made something happen for themselves today. I hope they can continue.
Yeah, I agree. This could be a breakout moment for William Byron. If he can stay inside that top 5 and get a good solid finish, it'll be his first top 5 of the season, but a huge one. So this is going to be make or break for this 24 team. I'm telling you, this is a pinnacle moment for this race team if he can stay inside that top 5.
Great point, guys. The reason this race is so enormous is because of the uncertainty in front of them next weekend. Friday, the Xfinity Series is going to take on the high banks of Daytona. That'll be on NBCSN. And then Saturday, it is the cut race, the end of the regular season. That's going to happen under the lights on NBC, and anything can happen.
Daytona, what better place to make the NASCAR playoffs or miss them? Because Daytona sends you to the show, or Daytona sends you home. Daytona, Saturday on NBC.
I'm already holding my breath. I can't believe what's going to happen next week.
Let's run it Monday night. I don't want to wait till Saturday. I'm ready. I've been waiting all summer for this.
There'll be more on the line at Daytona than there's ever been before. You know, you're going to have all these guys that are literally, out of the playoffs with one opportunity to stamp their ticket to get in. It's going to be crazy.
And that's a different opportunity than if you were coming here. Because I don't think there's anybody in the field that can't win that race. We've seen odd winners at Daytona and at Talladega. So everybody, think about Eric Jones. Eric Jones had trouble. He's down at 18th in points, 48 points back. He's still not out of it. He could go win that race and move himself into the top 16. And by the way, that knocks somebody out. So you are not safe if you're sitting there in 16th in points.
We've been talking about anyone can win when it comes to the plate races. Why can't it be Mr. Speedway, Mr. Excitement when it comes to the plate tracks? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. checkered flag at Talladega back in 2017 when he drove for Roush. Comes back, wins again at Daytona in July to prove he knows how to plate race. And it's only continued. He gets a lot of criticism from his aggression, but I'm going to tell you, it hasn't stopped this year. He was, 12 inches, 16 inches away from winning Talladega this year when Blaney won it. He's had a rough go today at Dover, but it could happen. He could upset everyone.
All right, remember the choose rule is in effect. Listen to the radio for Denny Hamlin.
Do things, but it's up to you. No, it's not up to me. You're driving. I'm just telling you the numbers. Remember how this restart worked out yesterday? So we were in the same position. We were second, and we chose second row outside.
Can I officially say I don't remember what happened yesterday?
Look at this.
Hopefully they talked about it.
Well, apparently they didn't like what happened, so they couldn't see it inside.
Yeah, just remember, guys, you have to pick before you get to that arrow
Look at all
and
of
hit that
stopping.
orange box, you have to go to the back of the field. So everybody's picking whatever lane you want to go in.
It's like everybody's in the lunch line.
That's right. It's like, wait a second, what's
Coming
going
up
on
to the
back here?
checkout.
It is. Which line's moving faster?
Yeah.
High line, low line. What's the preferred line? Cars with damage. And it's all getting sorted out. Next time by will be the green flag. We'll get back underway. So look at the points earned today through 2 stages. Harvick was perfect. He finished first in both stage 1 and stage 2. Blaney was up there in both stages as well. Logano, William Byron, huge points for the 24 team coming in. They were outside of the playoff picture.
And the guy that has not had a good day at all, not really of his doing, damage early. See that where they've repaired that car of Eric Jones, and all the people that he is racing for that final spot to get in the playoffs are having good days, and he is not.
Eric Jones, one of those drivers that's fighting for a seat in 2021. Back up through the gears they go. Kevin Harvick out front with a great restart. Logano on the high side. Let's see if the 11 and choosing that low line pays off. Looks like he's going to slide in behind the 22.
You have to push really hard. Restarts are real aggressive.
Alex Bowman in the 88, just in front of Ryan Blaney. 6th and 7th running there.
Right behind Ryan Blaney, Cole Custer having a pretty solid run today.
A rookie.
We're starting to see that a lot, guys. Cole Custer and this team. And that 41 car right there, they're starting to show up in the top 12 quite frequently. Starting to figure this thing out as a rookie. Dylan.
Yep, that's exactly their goal, too. We talked to Mike Shiplett earlier this weekend. He mentioned top 12s or better these next few weeks especially. That gets them at least through the first round of the playoffs if they can do that. But he alluded to the same thing you were talking about. The improvement week to week that Cole has made since the start of this season has been noticeable for sure amongst this team. He's had a really solid weekend, a quiet weekend running just outside the top 10 or just inside the top 10 right now in that 8th spot. That's the best he's run all day today.
Well, Cole Custer ran 11th yesterday, has an Xfinity Series win here. Jeff, we talked about it yesterday. This playoff run, Cole Custer has won this year. He's in the playoffs. It's going to be so valuable as a rookie to experience the pressure, experience what it's like to run for a championship. Definitely building blocks for the future for this young driver.
And we have a great rookie class this year. We have Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, John Hunter Nemechek, Christopher Bell. But what a horrible year to be a rookie. I mean, you know, since we've come back from the COVID break, we've had no practices. They have to go on these racetracks in cars that they haven't driven. These cars are so different than the Xfinity cars that they drove last year. They're having to learn under fire.
Yeah, that's what Christopher Bell said, who Christopher Bell might have been one of the best Xfinity drivers of the big 4 that were running the last 2 years there. He said when I came over to Cup, he said, I can't compare the two. It's so different. You can't compare Xfinity to Cup racing. It's so much better over here and so much more talent that you're racing against on a weekly basis.
The cars are better. I'm sorry, the cars are different from the Xfinity Series, and the competition is better. So it is a huge adjustment that you have to make.
Rick, you mentioned it. A lot of guys tuning in after watching the Indianapolis 500. One big name, a superstar, winless, the defending champion, Kyle Busch. Well, he had a great run yesterday, ran up front. We were looking for great things out of the 18 again today. He was in an accident early, the one that took out Chase Elliott. Well, if you look at the right front corner of the 18, you see the tape on the fender. It's more than that. The splitter's bent up. This 18 car, I think, is just nowhere near optimum condition, and it's showing. Currently 16th, fighting it, but if he doesn't win here today, this will be the longest in his career that he has ever gone into a season without a win. That's going to start wearing on the 18 car.
Yeah, Adam Stevens, his crew chief, made the comment to us a couple weeks ago. He said, you know, we are so good at coming into a weekend and getting better from the start of the weekend to the end of the weekend. Well, now, because of the situation we're in with no practice, no qualifying, the start of the weekend is the start of the race. And so they don't have time to work on the cars to get them better so that Kyle Busch can be better. Well, this is a little bit of a unique situation in a doubleheader this weekend. Kyle Busch finished third yesterday in this race. So now he was hoping to improve upon that, but also caught up in the incident early.
Watching Jimmy Johnson trying to figure out how to get around this two-car. Two cars running where Jimmy's running on the racetrack, so it's kind of hard for Jimmy to make any ground without losing the nose. You see him move up the racetrack a little bit right there, trying to search for some grip, but doesn't find it. Gets a decent run off the corner, though.
Yeah, big run off the corner. That's something. Let's see if he tries it again. No, he got a big enough run where he thought he could drive it. Got the air pulled off that two-car. Got Brad loose. Now Jimmy's loose underneath him. And here's Eric Almirola trying to put some pressure on Jimmy.
See if Jimmy tries to recreate that again.
See right there when Brad gets up the racetrack. Now let's watch what Jimmy Johnson does. Maybe just push that two-car, not physically, but with the air, but Brad goes to the top.
Brad's gonna let him have it. Brad way out of the gas up there.
You're riding with an 11-time winner at this racetrack. Jimmy Johnson has more wins at this racetrack than many people have in their entire career. There's only 9 drivers in this field that have more wins in their career than Jimmy Johnson has at this one racetrack. Think about that.
Dave.
Guys, Clint Boyer also taking advantage of Brad Keselowski here and still not happy with the 14. Listen.
Don't overdrive it, man. Nice and smooth with your rhythm here. No, we shouldn't have with this thing, damn it. Stay focused, man. Top 10, top 10.
It's just the way it goes in NASCAR racing, right, guys? You work on your race car, you have ideas. Sometimes you think you ought to go one direction, and then you say, nah, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let's not happen to 14 running 11th right now.
Well, so the question is, did the 14 and Clint Boyer make their car worse today, or has everyone else made the car better? Because we talked to Jimmy Johnson, he said, my car's better, but so isn't everyone else. You got to continue to improve.
68 points above the playoff cutoff line for Clint Boyer as we go NASCAR nonstop. Today's aerial coverage brought to you by Geico, giving us some great views from high above the Monster Mile. Let's take a look at today's Ram trucks built to serve, guys.
Well, the 4 and 11 of Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin, doubleheader Masters. This is the 10th doubleheader race. Of the 9 that have been completed, they have won 7 of them. They got to figure it out.
Yeah, bubble drivers. 21, Matt Benedetto, William Byron, Jimmy Johnson. Those guys, how they're going to do today and going into Daytona, will they set themselves up to have a comfortable situation there or not?
Final stops, Rick. 96 laps to go. They cannot make it to the finish. Oh, the final stops might be coming right now as the double zero goes around. The yellow's out. Oh, boy. 96
Did you hit anything
go.
down there? You all right?
How did he not hit anything?
No, I
at
saved
Dover?
it.
He saved it.
Quinn Houff, 22-year-old out of Virginia.
Love that paint scheme, Rick. Brings me back to my Busch
Harry
North
Gant?
days.
What do you think?
No.
I always thought Harry Gant.
Nope. The Fisher snowplow entry for Dick McCabe in the Busch North Series.
Okay.
As a young man, that zero, you got to take a zero off. He was a single zero, but that brought me right back.
I was looking at Skull Bandit, but okay. All right, let's take a look at what happened with the double zero.
Big wiggle there. Just overcorrects the car, but saves it. Did a good job, just locked it down. Turn 2, a lot of room down there on the apron.
Never hit the wall, did he?
Surprising.
Good job. He had a big moment with the back of the car. It started this.
All right, Steve, you mentioned final stops. Well, did that maybe speed things up? 95 laps too far. They can't go that far on fuel, right?
Well, they're going to try, Rick. I mean, we expect them to go 90 on fuel, 94 to go right now. You have to come. I mean, we have seen Dover be a few mileage race many times. Didn't matter if it was 500, 400. I don't think it's going to matter if it's 311. The window is now. Everybody will come to pit road, and barring another yellow, these drivers are going to be asked to manage the racetrack and manage their fuel.
Bubba Wallace got the free pass. He was the highest scored lap down car at the time of the caution coming out. So that'll put 21 cars on the lead lap. Kevin Harvick has won stage 1 and stage 2. They'll have to fight through another restart, stay up front, but of course it's going to go into the hands of their crews first when they come to pit road. No mistakes. We saw a speeding penalty earlier by the 48, Jimmy Johnson.
20 cars in the lead lap, Rick. There's no time to recover inside 100 laps to go. You're going to have to be clean in and out. Pit crew don't have to have the best stop. You just can't have a major mistake.
On a very narrow pit road.
On board right here with Martin Truex Jr. First pit stall in, comes to a stop right on his side. Said the turn in the middle is getting better. Loses rear grip as the run goes. Going to try to tighten this car up a little bit with air pressure. Looks like maybe a track bar adjustment. Parker.
And for Kevin Harvick, it's a small right rear air pressure adjustment, just like they did the last time on pit road. Ronnie Jones reminded them, make sure you pack it full of fuel. Dylan?
A little bit tight is the report from William Byron. Says I need to turn if I'm going to pass these guys in front of me. 4 tires, fuel, and an air pressure adjustment on the 24, Dave.
Joey Logano fires off tight. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Tire carrier Jeremy Ogles will make the only adjustment on this stop. He'll put a piece of tape on the front grille. There it is. Bang! Up goes Logano.
And a tight race off of pit road. Harvick, Logano, Hamlin, Truex all holding their spots. Bowman grabs one. William Byron loses one. And how about the 48 Jimmy Johnson? Look how close this is. Well, he's avoiding them all the time.
Lost Speedway is the new Peacock original documentary series hosted by myself and Matthew Dillner. It's an exploratory journey that spans the entire country, uncovering great racing cathedrals of the past and their hidden stories. All episodes streaming now free, exclusively on Peacock. Sign up at peacocktv.com.
All right, I give you an A+ because I had to talk about that during the Xfinity race, and I didn't dare say the word cathedrals.
Well, I'm still wondering
so I just
when
called it racetrack.
exploratory journey went into your
Oh,
vocabulary.
I'm telling you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Actually, so much fun. I mean, you guys and uncovering some of those racetracks that have really gotten covered up and trees growing in around them.
Yeah.
Hearing the stories, too, is amazing.
It's pretty awesome to go see these places and what they look like today and try to imagine what they meant to the communities back then.
All right, we've already seen the choose, and once again, guys, Kevin Harvick, easy for him. He takes the top, but Denny Hamlin, again, takes the bottom, Rick. So even though he fell in line behind Logano on the last restart, he's chose there again. Let's see. Well, this time he gets to gain a spot.
Yep.
I think third on the outside, probably too far back. Don't you think Jeff wants to take a gamble on that front row?
Yeah. He's got nothing to lose with all the wins and points and all the things. He said before on the choose rule, he's going to take the shortest route. That's going to put him on the front row.
It's been hard to get launched on that front row. This outside lane's had a big advantage right here approaching the restart zone.
And coming out of 4, green flag back in the air. A little bit better this time for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Can he hang on to that spot? He
Sure
does. He clears the 22, holds on to second.
He hustled through the center of 1 and 2. Side by side back here for fourth place. 88. Alex Bowman has really worked his way through this field. I don't think he's going to get this spot from Truex, but man, a backup car coming from the back of the field. Had a great run.
Making those runs last year not look like a fluke, right? That second and that third, backing it up, Gene.
Yep. Teammate William Byron trying to maintain track position as well. He's had it all day long with some great strategy earlier in the race to get some stage points in stage 1 and stage 2. Trying to hang on to that track position to be able to get a great finish as well.
Earlier in the race, he was talking about being too loose, and that last run, he was talking about being too tight. So just can't quite find exactly what he wants to get winning speed. Blaney putting a lot of pressure on him.
He had more speed than Blaney the run before. Now these tires, the changes and adjustments, as Blaney improved his car. Blaney's going to get right into that bumper, try to get him loose. Doesn't seem to affect that 24.
Williams got to be really careful. Get that thing to the bottom. Get the left sides. There you go. Better job. That kept Blaney from getting to his left rear quarter panel. William, a nice job that time protecting that spot.
Blaney just can't get that car to work through the middle of the corner. You can see it. So he's trying to go back to the gas. The car just washing up. He's having to wait on the throttle. Hear him, he's wanting to go to the gas, having to continue to back out before he can get back to full throttle. Dave.
Dale Jr., how quickly on a restart do you feel a loose wheel if you have one? Pretty quick, right?
Yep.
Here goes Denny, listen.
Maybe get the wheels right. And for left rear is suspect, so you got to ride it as long as you can ride it.
And he was in victory lane yesterday.
And here he comes.
Yep, here he comes now, guys.
Yeah, left rear suspect means we don't want to chance it.
Don't slide them. Don't
Crew
slide them.
chief
Give it
knows
back
if
on
you look
entry.
at the data of the pressure in the air going in the gun and the video of the tire changer, he can tell how many of the 5 lug nuts tightened up. Watch the video. How many of the lug nuts did he hit? We'll see what Chris Gabehart does. Do they just tighten the left rear? Do they put a new set of left side tires on it? I would change tires and wheels. As much load as it is here at Dover, that loose wheel can instantly be damaged and never want to become tight.
We know yesterday they won the race and they had one lug that wasn't tight on the left rear. Final stop in the race. Dave.
So here he is. He was told when he came to pit road, don't slide him. So it'll just be the 2 left sides that they'll change and they'll send him back out.
He didn't slide, but the damage is done. It's 35 miles an hour all the way down that pit road. Dale Jr., you mentioned it, post-race, NASCAR taking a peek. There was at least one not pulled all the way up. That's going to be a fine to the crew chief, and here it is the next day. More than one not tight. A loose wheel for Denny Hamlin. He had to come to pit road.
So what do you feel? When you say it's a loose wheel, what do you feel?
It just shakes, vibrates. I mean, literally, you hear drivers talking about a vibration. I got a vibration. That is quite simply what it is. It's just a big vibration. The whole car shakes. Many times the driver will misdiagnose it, right? They'll think it's a right front when really it's a left front. Very hard to tell.
We've known in years past the teams were getting really aggressive and only hitting 4 lugs intentionally to try to gain a little speed on the pit stop, and that may be coming to haunt these guys a little bit here on this final stop of the day. Assuming that was the last stop, just trying to gain a little speed there on the left side. And
yeah, that's why NASCAR put those fines in place. You know, people think, oh, it's 1 lug nut, why fine them? To your point, Junior, that's because they were only tightening 4.
Yeah.
So you had to make a pretty serious penalty to encourage the teams to attempt to get all 5 lug nuts tight. And by tight, NASCAR doesn't go there and check them with a wrench. As long as they're touching the wheel, they're going to say good enough. It's a visual inspection. Denny Hamlin, though, after that pit stop, will be scored. Make sure I'm right here. Yeah, 1 lap down. So he's going to have to fight his way back, try to get some yellows, try to get back in the race. Going to be hard to do with 79 to go. You see the 88. Alex Bowman, Kurt in 4th. Let's go to get some updates from pit road. We'll start with Dave.
And Steve, by the way, the left rear was indeed loose on the 11. Double check that, and it was indeed the case. Talked with this crew chief, Greg Ives, this morning for Alex Bowman. And remember what Ives did here. Won a number of races with Jimmy Johnson as the race engineer. So he was very confident coming into the weekend. Sorry that they couldn't show themselves yesterday, but not surprised that the 88 is doing so well today, running 4th.
And Dave, we get to this time of year, you know, so many are racing for so many different objectives. Well, the 10 car of Eric Roll has an interesting one. Right now, beating Kyle Busch, who's in 13th, is a big deal for them. Why? They were only 10 points ahead of him coming into this race, which is 8th in the regular season standings, which pays 3 playoff points, big move to the playoffs. So it was a big deal for today to go well. They had that speeding penalty in pit road, but he has marched his way back to the field into the top 10 and is closing in on the top 5, Dylan.
Parker Austin Dillon is locked into the playoffs already with a win earlier this year, but his team wanted to turn this ship around and have some solid runs put together before they started the playoffs. Justin Alexander, the crew chief, we talked about this earlier, felt like at the start of the races, they're much better. They need to get the end of the race better. With about 75 laps to go, he's running just outside the top 10. Car continues to come to him and gets better the longer they go.
Just behind the 3 of Austin Dillon, the green car of Kyle Busch. Mentioned he's the reigning Cup Series champion, winless in 2020 as we take a look at the Toyota driver update. Currently running in the 13th position, started 18th, was caught up in the incident that took Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around into the inside wall and eliminated the 9 of Chase Elliott. So they have some damage on that car. Only 1 stage win so far in 2020 for Kyle Busch. So not the season that he was hoping for after winning his 2nd championship last year.
No, far from it, for sure, Rick. The difference, though, you know, this is not what Kyle Busch was looking for, but the perseverance of today, you mentioned that damage so early. I mean, up to 13th, it's not going to be a highlight to them, but that's a good, hard-working day at Dover.
So Jimmy Johnson, we see on the left side of the screen, 10 points below the cut line. Let's assess his weekend. Jimmy Johnson, first race yesterday, pretty decent finish. Now where he's running, what do you guys think?
Well, they show really good speed this weekend. Racetrack where you expect to see Jimmy Johnson run well. Mistake-free yesterday. Some mistakes today. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson speeding in that last stop. They've also spots on pit road as well. So just those mistakes. You know, they don't have winning speed, Junior, but they have good speed. And when you only have good speed, any mistake is hard to overcome. So you just can't afford them.
Yeah, he's 7-time champion and a hero for a lot of people, and they're all hoping that today can be as successful as yesterday, how he was able to gain some points and work his way back into position to make the playoffs. His fans want to see him in the playoffs. I came to terms, this is his final season because he told me so.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, is there anything about the online petition to try to get you to come back? He said, man, I made I made that decision and wrapped my brain around it months and months ago. I'm not coming back. He even said that he wants to try to put together a IndyCar season next year to run all the street and road courses, all 12 or 13 of those races. He's already forward thinking on what's going on next year for him, but he knows that in his final season, everything that he's accomplished, it would mean the world to him to make these playoffs. Does not. It's such a disappointment for any team any year to miss the playoffs. He does not want that to happen to him this year in his final season.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too, talking to Jimmy about some of his thoughts about running overseas. You know, maybe going and run Le Mans, running some places like that to experience what it's like to race overseas. Let his family experience that with him. Jimmy's going to be doing some fun things next year, and not all. Whoa.
Wow.
A lot of pressure.
Cole Custer saying, okay, I'll move out of the way. Don't worry. Don't drive through me.
I know you're a 7-time, but come on, man.
Well, listen, I think that's the pressure that the 24 is doing. We talk about Jimmy. He really showed up here at Dover and gained some points from the start of the weekend. But I'm going to have to say it's punch, counter-punch. Because the 24 of William Byron and Chad Canals, that combination showed up today after being politely embarrassing yesterday. They ran 28th. They were nowhere near good as far as a car handling or speed goes. Here they are in the 5th position. William Byron has 95 starts in the Cup Series, 96 after yesterday. Jimmy Johnson has 83 wins. So
right.
When you start talking about the difference between these two, why they are teammates, they are so far apart, 22 years in age, so much time between the two of them, that I'm impressed with the performance of William Byron. He had to feel the pressure coming in today.
We saw that close action. Jimmy Johnson and Cole Custer. Jimmy been working on him and just couldn't get by him. A good run off of turn 4. Drives down into turn 1. It's right to his rear bumper. Cole gets loose. Not sure they ever made contact. It was really close, but I think it all started because Jimmy first had the air pulled off of Custer, and he just got really, really loose.
And so while we've been focusing a lot on the 24 and 48, you got to remember the 21, Matt DiBenedetto. He's definitely in the crosshairs now because he has fallen to only 15 points above that cutoff line, not having a very good day. Obviously not like what Kevin Harvick is experiencing right now, which is a great day. Kevin Harvick and the domination that he has shown in 2020. You see favorite to win, finished top 6 last 5 Dover races. 3 of the last 5 races he's been able to win at the double headers. And then both stages already today, and has led 163 laps of the 248 that has been run. So double headers have worked out well for him at Pocono. He was able to win there. Michigan grabbed both of them. And of course, he's always racing with Denny Hamlin. But right now, looking good here at Dover. 56 laps to go. The NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from the Monster Mile at Dover International Speedway. And again, this is the second to last race of the regular season, and it means so much because the last race is under the lights at Daytona. You never know what is going to happen at Daytona, and that race coverage will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Make sure to tune in as the regular season comes to an end. And wow, Ryan Blaney completely sideways there as we were looking down from that aerial coverage, and look at how much ground he's going to lose now. Almost lost that thing.
I was going to say, that's wreck without wrecking, is what I think that officially was for the 12 of Blaney. And he's got 54 laps to go. Yeah, without a caution, he's got to ride this out.
Riding along with him.
Yeah, he's so loose in. There's just no grip. You hear the tires squealing.
So like 2 to the bottom, 1 back coming inside.
So disheartening because he's got no pit stops.
If it makes you feel any better, here's the leader. You know,
wow.
He's sideways too, with nearly a 5-second lead. We've seen, look at that. And we have seen every driver this weekend really have to step up their game. Everybody's been loose. And if you're not going to be loose, you're slow. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you're going to have to be loose if you want to make lap time.
So with Kevin Harvick running up front here, and as you mentioned, a 4.7 second lead. You look at the all-time series wins by manufacturer, and Ford is sitting on 699, looking for their 700th win in NASCAR and the Cup Series. Chevrolet was 790, but Ford trying to hit that milestone of 700 wins, and it could happen at the hands of Kevin Harvick today.
We made a lot about the battle between 24 William Byron and Jimmy Johnson. Matt DiBenedetto was really in a comfortable position several races ago, but in the last 2 races, he's lost 30 points to the bubble. He's lost right now, if it finishes as is, another 12 points today. Going into Daytona, not comfortable at all. Not at all for this 21 team. Started on the pole today, sitting right now in 17th. Just hasn't been able to get the speed out of this car that they were hoping for.
And Jimmy Johnson has got by Clint Boyer. But Jimmy Johnson now is up to 7th. William Byron's in 5th. Jimmy's trying to chase Eric Almirola down.
Okay, earlier, one of you said he didn't have winning speed. But what about Jimmy Johnson and what he's been able to do here with the 48 car today?
Just ran the fastest lap on the racetrack that time by, so he's got winning speed. Parker.
And Dale, this is right in his wheelhouse at Dover. Long run speed. Cliff Daniels told me, he said, you know, one of the things we struggled with yesterday was not having that short run speed. He said, if there's a long run though, I know Jimmy can make the speed no matter what we put in that car. And you're seeing that here right now. You know, the longest run we've had in this race is just around the 80 laps. But if this goes green all the way to the end, this could potentially be the longest run of the race, which falls right in their hands. You're seeing that speed out of the 48.
And every position that Jimmy takes, it moves DiBenedetto closer to the bubble line. So when Jimmy passes a car, that's another point closer. That's tough, man.
Well, we've talked a lot about the bubble. One driver who's done a nice job to remove himself from the conversation, the 14 of Clint Boyer. The last 2 races, the Daytona Road Course and the first Dover race yesterday, 47 points in Daytona, 46 points in Dover. His 2 best points days of the year. So he could have just as easily slipped into this conversation. The opposite has happened for the 14. I know he's frustrated with his car today, currently running in the 8th position, thought he had more, but he's doing what he needs to do. At plus 69, he can leave here today feeling much, much better about Daytona next week. Dave.
And Steve, when I talked with his crew chief, Johnny Klausmeyer, about that, he said, yeah, we're not 100% clear, so we are going to race smart, finish well, get our stage points. Top 10 to 15 is fine for us, and that's certainly what he's done this weekend. 8th place right now, Clint bringing it home.
That's funny you mentioned Johnny Klausmeyer, and you mentioned him by name. When we asked Clint Boyer about his crew chief, he said, you know what? My crew chief is super chill. That's the way he described him. He's super chill.
Well, it's funny, right? Because when you talk to Almirola, who has the old crew chief for the 14, he has Mike Bugaravich. He says, my crew chief is not. He doesn't say super chill, but he says he's worked up. He's motivated on the radio, and Eric self-admittedly says he's kind of chill, kind of relaxed. He thought that motivation on the radio has helped the 10 team, so here it is. A crew chief swap between two cars, both currently running inside the top 10.
I think it's important also for Clint Boyer. You know, a lot of rumors about who's going to drive this car next year and what's going to happen. You know, you're expected to make the playoffs, right? You're driving for Stewart-Haas Racing, you're expected to make the playoffs. So Clint Boyer wants to continue his driving career. Making the playoffs go a long way to help him doing that.
.43 laps to go. My concern, Rick, we've seen an 80-lap run today, 48 laps in this green flag run. We talked about how this would be the longest. You asked me at the top of the show, are we concerned about 622 laps? Well, I don't love the idea, and I hate the idea of having to run 90 straight, right? So if anything is wearing, if anything is being beat up, 90 straight laps, whether it's the hubs, the left front hub gets beat up very bad here, the right front suspension, maybe the rear suspension, 41 laps to go. If we're going to see any of those mechanical issues, it's going to start showing up.
Asking these cars to do a lot, more than they've ever been asked to do on a weekend at Dover. Again, a doubleheader weekend, 311 miles, laps yesterday, another 311 today. Coming in, Jimmy Johnson was outside of the playoff window yesterday, had a great day, put him above the cutoff line. Now today, a little bit more of a struggle after his speeding penalty. He is now below the cutoff line. William Byron has put together a good day, a very solid day, running in the top 5. That's who he's fighting for as far as that one position. It's difficult, obviously, for Rick Hendrick because both cars are owned by him. He wants to see both of them get into the playoffs. But obviously, a lot of people want to see a 7-time champion and Jimmy Johnson make it into the playoffs. But only 2 opportunities left to decide that with here and Daytona next weekend.
You know what makes sports wonderful, though, Rick? Is nobody cares what your resume is. The point system doesn't care how many races you've won in your history. And you know, I say that tongue-in-cheek, but that's the point. That's what makes this so fun to watch, is what Jimmy Johnson is doing is, you know, he's reaching down and grinding as hard as he had to win races just to try to go get this point from Eric Almirola. It's exciting to watch, but he still has to find 6 more between now and the end of the race at Daytona next week.
Well, if he finds 6 more, he'll win the race, and he won't have to worry about points. He'll automatically be in it, because right now he's running in the 6th position. The next car in front of him will be William Byron.
Yeah, Williams pretty far out in front of him. With 37 laps to go, Jimmy will have to push really hard to be able to run him down. He's been fast. Jimmy's got a fast car for sure, but Williams pretty far out there on him. There he is. You got a little shot of William. Almost just under a short straightaway in front of him. There's William, and there's Jimmy.
Kevin Harvick, the 44-year-old out of Bakersfield, California, out in front. And when we talked to his crew chief a little while ago, he made the comment, you know what, we're still out here trying to prove ourselves. Well, pretty amazing that a guy who already has 6 wins this season is trying to prove themselves this late in the season.
Well, you mentioned prove themselves. This is a big weekend for the 22 of Joe Logano. First year working with crew chief Paul Wolfe. Success early, found some wins. When I talked to Paul, he says, you know, I think I know what my driver needs at the high horsepower tracks like here at Dover. It's the low horsepower tracks I'm not sure of. Well, if you make that statement, you have to deliver. They have. They ran 8th yesterday, improved on their car overnight. Currently running 2nd. Decent lap times. You never know with a caution if they could have a chance.
Martin Truex Jr. in 3rd, stalking that 22 car, Joe Logano. Talked to Martin last night about what he needed to win this race. What he was missing yesterday when Denny Hamlin passed him late in the race. Said, man, we were just way too loose entering the corner. I could not move around. I couldn't run the high side like I wanted to or needed to get around the lap cars. It seems they've improved that car today as he tries to run down this 22.
Yeah, look right behind him. There's Alex Bowman. Who would have thought after yesterday, Alex Bowman running 21st? Just did not see much speed from Alex yesterday. Finished in the top 3 in both races at Dover last year. Thought coming in he would be a car to win. Didn't see it yesterday, but good changes and good speed today.
just behind him in the 24. We've talked a lot about the fact that William Byron fighting to stay in this playoff picture. Well, at 22 years old, William Byron really has been more of a computer guy as far as learning how to race. He dominated in iRacing when the COVID break took over. Now he has transitioned onto the racetrack, and with Chad Canals calling the shots as his crew chief, he has consistently had great run after great run and has fought himself back up into the playoff picture. And a good fight here for the second spot. Logano.
Truex, big step out right there with the right rear off of turn 4, trying to lean on that right rear on that high side, asking a little bit too much.
Just yesterday, Truex, and his car may be for some reason a little more, he may have a little more problems behind other cars. Felt like he got held up yesterday leading the race late. Now he's in that same situation, facing Joey Logano for second. Let's listen to Joey.
We need to stick to our line, our speed. Don't try blocking him here yet. He's not close enough. Yeah, we haven't moved off our line yet. We're just struggling there. Yeah, we need to get back to our line where we're good.
Truex has been pretty amazing over the last 6 races. He finished third 5 races in a row, and yesterday he finished second. So, I mean, this guy has been as close and can smell a win. Already has a win in 2020, but right now running in third again.
That radio communication from the 22 car, they are very, clever, crafty. They will talk to Joey and really try to help him understand where the guy is behind him, so that he can run that line and take that line away from that driver, take the line away from Martin Truex Jr., take his air away and make it hard and almost impossible to pass him. They are so defensive with their car, more so than anybody that I've ever heard.
Look at the cars move around. We saw Joey Logano off turn 4 sideways. Right there, Martin Truex Jr. into turn 1 sideways. Late in this run, these cars just have lost all the grip. Just a battle for who can go to the throttle the soonest. Fun to watch. These guys manhandle these cars.
Steve, you mentioned long runs. With 27 laps to go, potentially it could be a 90-lap run. It'd be the longest green flag run of the day.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask Parker, who's been reporting on Kevin Harvick all day, the race leader. Parker, that's right at the fuel window we talked about. Have you heard anything on the radio about fuel issues for the 4?
It is, but Ronnie Childers was very confident when he told Kevin Harvick, even at the beginning of this run, just save me a little bit under the caution. We are good to go. We just need to save some in case there's a green-white checker. So they feel confident they can make it in. I've heard the same from multiple others in the top 10.
I think there's our answer on fuel. Dale Jr., you jumped in my other ear there and you said you feel you could save fuel here either way, just so much time out of the throttle. If you had to find a couple laps, you could.
Yeah, if you got it. So, typically when you run hard down in the corner, use a little brake to slow the car down. Well, you can run basically the same lap time, lifting way sooner using no brake. Let the car roll down into the corner, back to the gas really easy, almost match the lap time that you were running traditionally. So you can save quite a bit here.
Well, it also helps when you have a 5-second lead, right? You have a lot of room to give up for Kevin Harvick. You wonder a little bit further back in the field, Logano, Truex, Bowman in that tight race. Then you think about Byron and Johnson. You know they're running hard because of the point situation. But they push themselves over the edge. Harvick, that's real easy to save.
So Jeff, as we ride along with Kevin Harvick as a crew chief, instantly I see how hard he's working, sliding around, working the throttle. I'm asking my driver, buddy, 23 to go. What do you need in the short run? Not 80 laps, not 60 laps, a short run. I don't buy it. I don't believe we can run 90 laps to the finish. The track is too tough. They're sliding around too much. This is a track where you can still spin out on your own.
There it is.
Oh, well, there you go.
Caution's out. Prophetic, Steve.
There it is, Corey LaJoie.
Corey LaJoie, that Drydene 32. Corey LaJoie made the announcement this week he was not going to be back with Go Fast Racing, the team that owns that car. So now the caution has come out. The crew chief has asked his driver, what do you give him, Steve?
And Rick, this is going to sound crazy, but this is like Martinsville, where a car changes on a long run. I know it looks nothing like it, but the setup you want to run 100 laps here is not the setup you want to run 20. So these crew chiefs have been working on that air pressure, working on the wet wrench, maybe a little bit of that free grip. Dale Jr., that tape, everybody likes free grip. you have to make adjustments.
That's a great idea. Throw a little tape on the front of that car, add a little downforce, add a little comfort. With only short distance to the end, you can really push the issue on the temperatures. Let's see what happened to the 32 car. Up the fence already over here in the camera. Just got in the wall, got up in there a little, probably running that high side. I didn't see flat tires. Rodney is frustrated. They had this race won.
Remember, guys, the rear tire change on that 4 car, he's out this weekend. He had a spider bite, and it's some sort of infection. He can't be here this weekend. So
how do you beat Kevin Harvick? I mean, I understand you're saying
you got to have a great pit stop, number 1. Kevin Harvick and his team have to have a great pit stop, number 1.
I'm selling the opposite. Kevin Harvick is absolutely beatable now. I don't know if anybody could beat him over 60 laps, but we're going to talk a 15-lap sprint, qualifying laps.
But do you try something on pit road? Can you do 2 tires and get track position? Can you get in front of him?
With 68 laps on these tires, I don't think 2 tires will work. There's too many laps to go. Maybe a 2-lap run, a 5-lap run, but you're talking in the teens. We're going to see 15 laps to go. So I'm looking at having a good pit stop. Now, one advantage that Kevin Harvick's going to have, Burton, is this what you're thinking right here? How many lap cars he has off his rear bumper?
That's exactly right. So you look at Kevin Harvick all the way up here right behind the pace car. Joey Logano, that yellow car. Look at all the cars in between them. So Logano can pull up a little bit when these cars get caught up. He can pull up a little bit, but he can't pull up all the way to Kevin Harvick's bumper. So that's a big advantage for Kevin Harvick.
On pit road.
Yes, because now the amount of time that Kevin Harvick can be on in his pits is actually turned into a much easier pit stop for these guys. He
Watch
needs
that
to have
22.
smooth and easy. So he's going to get as much as he can, but still can't pull all the way up to his bumper.
There you go.
All right, see the 4 of Kevin Harvick turns left, comes to the attention of his pit crew. You mentioned that new rear tire changer this weekend. We'll see if they'll be smooth. I don't see any adjustments, no wedge wrench in the rear window. They must like their car, Parker.
Right, they just pumped up the tires a little bit for this shorter run. They've been lowering the right rear all this time. You also see Jimmy Johnson pulled out.
William Byron into his stall as well. He's saying he's just a little bit tight. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. Going to slap a little piece of tape on there as well. Dave.
4 and fuel for Logano. 1 more piece of tape on the front end to tear off away so he can see and hopefully catch the 4 car because they've been chasing him down. Jimmy Johnson, first off pit road, guys.
Rick, you asked, could anybody gamble? I didn't think anybody would. Cliff Daniels says, you know what's better than points? Trophies, the golden ticket into the playoffs.
He wanted to be up front. He's going to be up front. Jimmy Johnson will restart number 1. So Jimmy Johnson wins the race off of pit road using pit strategy, just a 2-tire change. So he has 2 fresh tires. The old tires are going to have 60-plus laps on them, so that's not going to be advantageous, but maybe the track position is going to pay off. Well, one of the other things that they've got to deal with is which line everybody chooses that's going to be racing against him.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be pretty easy for Jimmy Johnson to choose the top. But guys, that's a lot of laps on the left side. We have seen older tires work in situations. My fear, though, Jeff, is no one is behind him to protect him. Wherever he lines up, 4 tires will be next to him and behind him.
Yeah, he has 68 green flag laps on those left side tires. He's coming up to this choose. There he is. So he's going to go to the top. Obviously, Kevin Harvick, knowing that Jimmy has old tires, went to the bottom. Surprisingly, Truex went to the top. I thought Truex might go to the bottom because of those old tires on Jimmy Johnson.
You're talking about a good run for Clint Boyer. Now, he's still finding the point situation, but had to come to pit road a second time. You just hope that doesn't lead to more issues now that he's farther back in traffic. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Well, a sprint to end this race, and it's so important because of what's coming up next weekend. I mean, the Xfinity Series, it's not the end of their regular season, but it is the end of the regular season for the Cup Series. And that race is going to be on NBC, 7 o'clock, under the lights, Daytona. It's always exciting, and you just never know. You're trying not to get caught up in the big one. You're trying to find the right car to work with, trying to be in the right line, and so many decisions have to be made in a split second.
You're stressing me out, Rick. You're stressing me out.
If Jimmy Johnson's going to win this race, it's got to be right here as they approach the Geico restart zone. He has got to get the rear tires hooked up and get a launch. It's going to be so difficult with that old left rear tire. Let's see what he can get done.
Let's see how he does it. Back up into the gas he goes. 17 laps to go. Harvick on the inside. How much pressure will he give him? Jimmy Johnson holding him off through 1 and 2. Sliding as he came out of 2. Can he hold him off through 3 and 4? Up the racetrack, Jimmy goes. Here comes Harvick. Harvick's going to pass him and take the lead again.
Oh, Jimmy way up the racetrack off of 4. Now Jimmy Johnson's lost the lead, but he has to focus. He's still got to keep everybody behind him. Look at William Byron. He's in 4th.
Yeah, Jimmy was in 6th before he took those 2 tires, so anything inside the top 5 you would think will be an overall gain for the 48. Truex, on the other hand, is thinking, I need to get by this 48 as quick as possible.
There's a difference in tires. You saw it right there in the middle of the corner. Jimmy Johnson's going to go back to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch Truex gain on him. Right here, Truex will be able to get in the throttle sooner. Jimmy's got his work cut out for him, keep Truex behind him.
Jimmy's just got to run clean laps on that corner. Don't make any mistakes and allow that 19 car to get underneath. And this is the 19 car talking about a loose wheel here, just like his teammate.
Oh, Jimmy's loose. Jimmy's going to lose a lot of momentum right here if he can't recover.
Here comes that 19, looking to the inside, trying to take second away.
Right behind him is his teammate, William Byron, trying to get to the inside of that 48 car.
Yeah, they're stacked up behind William as well. 14 to go. This will be a long 14 laps for Jimmy Johnson.
I've always thought this is the toughest situation to be in. William Byron, a teammate to Jimmy Johnson. You're faster, you have better tires, but you got to pass him clean. Contact will create a ton of tension within the organization. You're asking that out of a young driver trying to find his way.
To the back bumper he goes.
All these cars stacked up behind William Byron. Jimmy does not want to give up this bottom. He'll get trained by a lot of these guys going by him on the inside. Good clean corner right there. You see the distance to the 24 car. Use that car to create dirty air. Make that 24 earn it.
We see William Byron wants to make that nice pass on the bottom. He's been reluctant to jump up to the middle of the racetrack, so
I think it's late in the day. The pace is up. The grip is up in the track. The top just really isn't an option. Dylan.
Guys, we've talked so much about the struggles of yesterday, but one thing that has remained consistent this weekend for Chad Knaus, his instruction to William Byron, don't put pressure on ourselves. Don't put extra pressure on ourselves specifically. Respond to what each day is giving us. Well, look at yesterday. They had that disastrous race where they were both frustrated on the radio. They put that behind them. Today they come out here on track for their first top 5 of the entire season. That's quite remarkable. You consider how inexperienced really in the grand scheme William Byron is behind the wheel of these Cup cars. Chad Knaus trusted in his veteran leadership, and right now they're putting together a great day.
Jimmy's working his guts out right here as the tires seem to start to even out, guys, after a few laps. The new tires start to slide a little bit more. That's helping Jimmy Johnson sort of maintain this gap he's got over the 24.
The question I have is in 9 to go, will there be enough time that they can move off the bottom of the racetrack? Because I think that's what the 24 needs. Jimmy's so disciplined, he's not going to give him any air on the bottom.
And right now, Jimmy's just a little bit quicker, even with those old tires. For William to make that outside work, he's got to just get a little more speed, but Jimmy's able to leave both corners with a lot of throttle.
And remember, while all of this is happening, Matt DiBenedetto is running 17th. So a bad points day for the 21 is going to bring it almost into a 3-car battle for that last spot in the playoffs next week at Daytona.
Struggling with the throttle right there. The 24 gains just a little bit on that corner.
And the closer that 24 gets, the worse the 48 will drive because of all that air being pulled off of that spoiler.
And to your point, Junior, if that 24 can get underneath the 48 and he has to get off that preferred lane on the bottom, you just don't know how many positions that may cost him. Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit more strung out back there behind the 24 and 24 loose right there, trying to get off the turn 4.
But Williams starting to make ground on him right through the middle of the corner. Williams right there. Williams able to carry more speed than Jimmy is. Jimmy's going to have to do some serious blocking here.
Yeah, I think you got to just be willing to give up something in the middle to make sure you get the run off the corner if you're Jimmy Johnson. You don't want to struggle in the throttle on corner exit and allow that 24 to drive up underneath you.
Yeah, and that all starts on the corner entry, as crazy as that sounds. If you miss this part of the corner, you can't get your left sides down there on the bottom of the racetrack.
That lap car going to bother them at all? Not at all. Maybe hurt the 24 just a little bit there.
Under 5 laps to go. Kevin Harvick out front has a 3.3 second lead over Martin Truex Jr.
Jimmy sideways off of turn 4 right there.
Jimmy Johnson announced at the beginning of the season this would be his final run, his final season of racing. Well, he had no idea that COVID-19 was going to hit every sport. It hit NASCAR. They've been able to come back, but it has changed because the fans aren't there to cheer on the 7-time champion. So Jimmy Johnson, even after Blake Shelton has said, please come back, he might have started that petition to get Jimmy Johnson to come back.
24 closing in.
Yeah, and it's getting tight. Jimmy Johnson
to the top.
trying to make the playoffs.
Let's see what happens.
The momentum for the 24 using the high line.
We're showing you this because Kevin Harvick has stretched it out to an over 3-second lead on Martin Truex Jr.
Top work for William Byron in 3 and 4, but he went right back to the bottom.
This lap car might cost Jimmy a lot of speed off of turn 2. It does.
Here comes the 24. Under 2 laps to go. Can he hold him off?
I agree with you, Jeff. I thought that top looked pretty decent. The run down the straightaway was good for the 24, but he didn't stick with it.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. The final time. Harvick out front, Truex running second. Jimmy Johnson trying to hold on to third after pit strategy. Just a 2-tire stop. Put him up front. Kevin Harvick is going to win. He sweeps.
Great job. What a weekend. Good job. Fought all day yesterday, and it paid off today getting it right. Thank you.
Stage 1, Stage 2, and the win for Kevin Harvick, sweeping the day. Martin Truex Jr. finishes second. So remember now, that's 7 races in a row that Martin Truex Jr. has finished third or better. Jimmy Johnson holding on to third. William Byron, Alex Bowman, and take a look at this. Kevin Harvick now tying Kyle Busch 9th all time for wins in the Cup Series.
And it was an answer, in my opinion, this was an answer to Denny Hamlin's sweep of yesterday. He won both stages in the race. It's been between these 2 guys all year long.
They've definitely been the dominant 2. Kevin Harvick ready to climb out. This is Checkered Flag Moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. So the 10, the 18, and the 1 all clinch playoff spots based on points. So they don't have to worry about it. And from shirtless Jimmy Florian winning Ford's first ever Cup Series race to now Kevin Harvick, who has won the 700th Cup race for Ford. There's Jimmy, shirtless Jimmy Florian. By the way, they made a rule after this that you have to wear a shirt. So that's why he got the nickname Shirtless. Jimmy Florian. And look at the most wins by Ford drivers: Ned Jarrett, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, David Pearson, Hall of Famers. And of course, Kevin Harvick with his win today. He's a future Hall of Famer as well. What a day. You guys mentioned it's been Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick in 2020. Denny Hamlin with 6 wins in 2020. Kevin Harvick just grabbed his 7th win in 2020, and he's going to burn it down here at the Monster Mile. Getting used to it, celebrating. In this day and age, you don't really get to celebrate the way you used to with your team. But there he's talking with Rodney Childers, crew chief. Remember, they said they still need to prove themselves. Well, I think they're doing a great job of proving to themselves and to everybody else that they are probably the favorites for the championship in 2020. They've got to put a lot of work into it, but Kevin Harvick, we mentioned he clinched the regular season, so he's going to get 15 playoff points for that. He wins this race. He got 5 playoff points there. You look at all the names in yellow, locked in and clinched playoff berth. Almirola, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, all doing it on points today. But look at the points bubble. Matt DiBenedetto only 9 ahead of Jimmy Johnson. William Byron 4 ahead of Jimmy Johnson. And of course, next weekend, Saturday night, under the lights, Daytona International Speedway. And so it's going to be a great one to end the regular season. Jimmy Johnson climbs out of that Ally 48 machine. And it was a good call. Like you said, he came in 6th. They made a 2-tire stop. He finishes 3rd in the race. So a good move by Cliff Daniels, making that call to only do a 2-tire stop. The familiar sight here with Kevin Harvick back in victory lane. And I think the fact that he now has moved to 9th, a tie for 9th all-time wins in the Cup Series. At 44 years old, a lot was mentioned about 2 years ago about retirement. When are you going to retire, Kevin? And then he started winning more races and being more consistent in victory lane. And he said, the only time I'm going to retire is when I'm not having fun and not winning races. And that doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime soon. He's back in victory lane. Woo! Dave's down there with him.
Yes, the now traditional quiet victory lane here in 2020. And I heard you coming in, all the accolades that you know this race is meaning. You know, the 700th for Ford, the significance of that. You just went to 9th all time in the Cup Series win list, bud. So what about today?
Yeah, you know, I have to thank everybody on our Mobil 1 Ford Mustang. Congratulations to Ford on their 700th Cup win. Just really got to thank everybody on this team, Rodney and everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing for, you know, overcoming what happened yesterday with the track bar, being able to nail the balance today. But just got to thank all the partners, Jimmy John's, Hunt Brothers Pizza, Busch Beer, Haas Automation, Fields. I want to say happy birthday to Delaney's mom, Dax, our engineer, same birthday.
Nice.
And everybody at home. So, man, what a year. What a 7 years. Just really, really proud of everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing for being able to drive this car. And week after week, they just put so much effort into making this thing go fast, and it's been a great year.
Kevin, you're setting up to be the obvious favorite going into the playoffs. I don't know if you feel that way, but after 7 wins now, and even things like what you overcame yesterday, how do you feel about this team going in?
Well, I love the grit about our race team. You know, I think that's what Gene Haas and Tony Stewart have built at Stewart-Haas Racing, is just a team with a lot of grit. You know, sometimes we don't have the fastest car, but we have, you know, guys that are willing to just suck it up, and when we have a weak link on that day, somebody else is gonna carry the team. So just, you know, really proud of that, because that's what it's all about. You're only as good as the people around you, and we have great people.
I forgot to mention one accolade. You are the regular season champion.
All right.
Extra 15 bonus points. How's that?
Well, with Denny winning yesterday, we needed to win today, and we're going to need all the points we can get. You know, I think as you look at these playoffs, you just never know what to expect. But I know that as we go week to week, we're going to give it all that we have, and just really, really proud. I want to say thank you to Mobil 1. They put a lot of effort into the oils and lubricants that go into this car. Week after week, they're grinding away on finding more horsepower, less drag, and seals and bearings and everything that goes into this car. So it's an honor to drive for these guys.
It all worked smoothly today. Stage wins and the victory today for Kevin Harvick. Win number 3 at the Monster Mile, Rick.
Yeah, clean sweep. Stage 1, Stage 2, and the race win for Kevin Harvick. Well, he mentioned Denny Hamlin and the win that Denny had yesterday. So now those two have really separated themselves as the two best going into the playoffs. But we have one more race to go. Drivers, you've got Daytona in front of you. Do you sleep at all this week?
If I'm Kevin Harvick, I sleep great. If I'm Matt DiBenedetto, if I am Jimmy Johnson and William Byron, I'm not going to sleep at all, because we know that every stage and the end of the race is going to matter. It could be the difference between you making the playoffs and not. You could be in the playoffs coming off turn 4, getting the checkered, and a couple guys get by you and you're out. That's how close Daytona is.
Yeah, and Daytona's a plate track, and just about every car is it levels the playing field, really, for all the teams to have an opportunity to win that race. You know, we've seen a lot of destruction and crashes that can wipe out a lot of the field and give some of these other teams a real shot at coming in there and upsetting with a win. So you got a lot of guys, not only right around that bubble, but the rest of the field. Honestly, there's another 10 or 15 guys that have a sliver of hope, and I wonder what that's going to make this race look like next week. What is it going to look like? Are we going to see guys taking more risks than ever at Daytona when it comes to trying to win that race with everything that's on the line?
Dale Jr., you mentioned it, right? It's hope for so many teams. We talk a lot about the bubble and points, but a win and you advance. So you think about Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's not at the bubble. His only ticket for it is a win. So that puts the guys on the bubble at a moving target. Rick, what are you trying to be, 16th in points, 15th in points? I don't think we have any idea. All I know is we have always seen crazy racing at Daytona. Nothing about this playoff picture shows that it's going to be any calmer in my mind. It's going to be an electric Saturday night down in Daytona.
Well, as you mentioned, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, they're going to be able to sleep this week, but pretty much everybody else, it isn't going to happen. Coming up next on NBCSN's NASCAR American Post Race Show with Krista, KP, and Brad on the other side of the break. Congratulations, Kevin.